What's going on, all? I'm so glad to see everybody here waiting. It's going to be a pretty incredible night tonight. I'm so stoked. Legitimately been counting down for this all week. There is so much to go over. Uh, just a litany of announcements this week. And then on top of that, in just a couple of minutes, I'm going to be introducing a friend of mine that is going to make this show just incredible tonight. I am so stoked. Glad you guys are here. First off, see who is here in the chat. My man Brian, what's going on? Mitchell's here. Hey, Mitchell. Derek, how are you? 100, good to see you tonight. My man Eric is here also. Hey, Jeff, glad to see you here after seeing you in the Discord earlier. Speaking of Discord, before I get into it, make it awkward with somebody else being on the channel, just to call some attention, in case you didn't see it, I put out a video just yesterday about a channel update, and some of the cool things that are a part of it is that I'm planning on doing 3 pre-recorded videos a week. I'm hoping to make this weekly show a audio podcast that I put out. I worked on that literally today. That should be coming out here pretty soon. I'm planning on I'm saying by the end of the month to be a little conservative about it, but I think it'll be earlier than that. But the bigger thing, which really cool for the community, I think, is that I started a Patreon, and no pressure to join it, nothing like that. But if you wanted to, there are a couple tier levels that you can jump into that will get you access to the Disconnected Discord, which, for those of you that don't know what Discord is, it's basically a messaging app where you can come in and have different channels that we can talk about different things. But the big thing... Siri wanted to get involved, sorry. The big thing that I want to use it for is if I see like a low price on something, I can shoot it out to everybody in the community immediately. If I see something in stock that is rare, I can shoot it out there fast. So if you're into that, you're open to that idea, the link for the Patreon is in the description below. Got some other friends that joined. Ken Carlson. Hey, Ken. Cohen's here. Glad you came back. Sardis, my man, you are in for a surprise. I got a new intro coming for the channel, and I included a tag like you see in the bottom corner right now that is with you, and you're going to love it. I'm glad that you're a part of it. Dave's here. What's up, Dave? So tonight, if you have never listened, I'm going to wholeheartedly push that you listen to the podcast for a friend of mine that I'm introducing now. Our guest tonight is named Chris, and he is a member of a podcast called They Live by Film. And just, it's been a few weeks now. I can't remember the date that it went live on the channel, but I did about an hour pre-recorded with him where we talked about underappreciated labels, 5 each, labels that go a little bit under the radar. And we shared, personal feelings on them, what we like about them. And Chris is great. He is super knowledgeable. He's got a small group of friends that he made this really successful podcast with. And last year, they sort of exploded. They started meeting with people in the industry. They got to meet with Justin LaLiberty from Vinegar Syndrome. And from that point on, they were just sky's the limit. They met with some people from Arrow. They met with Louis Justin from Massacre Video. They met with the George Eastman Library. They met with guys from, I believe they met with Indicator. They've got a whole bunch under their belt, and they ask some, most of the time it's Chris interviewing them. He does the best with that. And then the actual show itself is 3 friends that just talk about movies, and they're super fun to listen to, but the interviews that they do are great. There's a lot of information that some of these companies are not just putting out there. So it's really nice to hear it straight from the source. What's going on, Dustin? Glad you're here. And some of these industry people bring up things like the process for restoring films, the cost for restoring films, the way that, for example, the Arrow Video one, there was a full conversation about why directors are choosing to have certain cuts of films on the disc rather than maybe the cut of the film that we're used to, or something like the color timing. That's been a problem with Criterion. So they talk about that a little bit. They talk about how they have to actually negotiate that with directors. Just really interesting talks. But if you are into that sort of thing, it is a great resource to be able to dive into and learn more about the hobby, learn more about what goes into these excellent releases that we are getting in every single week. For some of us, these releases that we love. And I fully appreciate what they are doing because they are opening some doors to some information that just were not open previously. And there is also a link for Chris's things in the description below. There is the podcast, there is their website. They have a subreddit for those of you that are on Reddit where they meet up. Chris actually has his own subreddit and he talks about films that he watches. He does polls. He does like top 10 lists, things like that. He is fantastic. Cam's here. What's going on, nerd? Yes, so Chris is driving home and will be on in just a moment. One thing that I do on the show frequently is a digital giveaway. So for those of you that are keen, I'm going to do one now, and we're also going to do one after all of the announcements for the week. So the first one I'm going to do is for the movie Apocalypse Now, the final cut. I believe this should redeem in 4K. So if you're interested, you are going to go to lionsgate.com/redeem. lionsgate.com/redeem. Maximus, hey. And the code on lionsgate.com/redeem is C as in Charlie, 0, 1, Z as in zebra, 4, S as in Sam, F as in Frank, 6, V as in Victor, E as in Edward, 3, L as in Lincoln, E as in Edward, M as in Mary, A as in Adam, and the last digit, so you can get there first, 9. C01Z4SF6 VE3LEM A9. Hopefully somebody got it. I'm going to be doing another one of these at the end of the channel, the end of the broadcast tonight, just so everybody can hang around. Flickering's here. What's going on, Flickering? Glad to see you. Let me know if you got that Apocalypse Now, so I know I can get rid of the slip. And for that one, I wanted to say thanks to Derek Ambrose, who is a part of the stream tonight. He said, hey, he donated that for everybody. Derek is somebody that imported, I believe, the Steelbook up to Canada. And in Canada, he can't redeem that. So we wanted to give it back to the community. So thanks, Derek. We appreciate you. Glad you did that. Hey, Zachary Bryant. Thanks for having Chris on. Hopefully he's not too late. Yeah, that's Chris for you. Derek, again, thank you. You are awesome. Jeff says, I think that's one of the films I told my girlfriend to get me for my birthday. That would have been perfect. Nice free digital. All right. That is awesome. Let's see. Sardis says, watched Hypnosis and Ham on Rye today. No problem recommending Hypnosis. Ham on Rye is a mumblecore. Ooh, that is why I bought it. I am stoked on Ham on Rye. I really want to see it. But a very solid recommendation on Hypnosis from Sardis, at least. And for everybody on the channel, you know, I highly, I usually agree with pretty much everything Sardis says. There's a couple things we're very different on. All right. I think it's about time we start looking at some of these. And the very first one we're going to talk about is not super important. So hopefully Chris is here before we get to the second one. So let me share the disconnected Instagram. All right. After last week's show, the very first announcement was one that we're going to be talking about a lot tonight. Candyman in 4K coming from Turbine Media. So for those of you that don't know, Turbine Media is the company that put out like the American Werewolf in London 4K before Arrow did it. They are the ones that put out, I believe, that giant Psycho set. Not 4K, but with everything in it. They put out that first giant big box of all of the Psycho films, a big German book, stuff like that. Obviously, they're from Germany. But lately they've been really pushing on media books and digipacks. So this is coming with 3 different cover options in 4K, and you can see the covers here, but I got a little bit of a closer look, and here they are. So this, I guess they're in reverse order. This is cover C. This is cover B, the classic, and then this is cover A. They're fairly new artwork. I don't think that's been used previously. Zach says their Leatherface release looks so great, almost makes me forget how bad the movie is. All right. And of course, like I said, now that I'm talking about the first one, Chris is here. So we're going to bring him onto the show. My man, how we doing?
Hey, how's it going?
Good to see you. I gave you this big, lengthy introduction and really praised They Live by Film. So,
Oh man. Well, thank you. Unfortunately, I don't have a private limo service yet, and you have kids, so you know how this goes. They were trying to coordinate a few things, but I'm here. I've got Whistle Pig to celebrate the occasion,
nice.
and Topo Chico for the sips in between. And I was gonna try to draw on the whiteboard behind me, but this pen's out of ink, so I won't be doing anything funny.
I saw you reach for it. I was going to wait, and then I saw you turn around me, and I was like, "Okay, I guess we're going."
Yeah.
I wish I did have a private limo. My son did tonight. I took him to Cub Scouts right before this, and literally stumbled in just a few minutes before, got everything set up, so just barely made it.
That's how it goes. Well, cheers to running kids around. But thanks so much for the kind words. And I saw Zach is here too, which is thanks for joining, Zach. That's cool.
Yeah, for those that don't know, Zach is also from the They Live by Film podcast. He is a big part of it, and yeah, just a great team all around. Like I said, the only one that we've talked about is the German 4K of Candyman. But like I said, we got some more Candyman to talk about tonight.
You knocked on the door 3 times, and I came into the room. I've actually, yeah, that's well, we don't have to. If you've already talked about it, we don't have to get into it. But very exciting. That means there's a 4K scan out there, so I can't wait to see what else is on the horizon.
Well, we won't have to wait too long, as they say. So right after this, the very next morning, we started getting some Arrow announcements. And up first is Girls' Night Out from 1982. And this one was also called The Scaremaker. And the way that Arrow announced this, a lot of people thought that these were 2 different films, but they are not. So this is one slipcover they're doing, and then there's a second slipcover that is the alternate title of The Scaremaker, but these are both the exact same film.
Yeah.
So whichever one you want to go with, they are both available. And for this one, this is the students of DeWitt University are preparing themselves for a night of fun and frolics in the form of an all-night scavenger hunt. Little do they know that they are in fact the ones being hunted. An unhinged assailant disguised in the college's Goofy Bear mascot outfit and bearing knives for claws 2 years before Freddy donned his famous gloves is stalking the campus, hell-bent on carving up co-eds. So immediately, I'm all in. I love that synopsis.
Yeah, sold.
And then when I read that synopsis and took a closer look, this slip is actually really cool. You got the crazy bear breaking in, and then the claws coming out here right at her throat. That is a great piece of art.
Yeah. I wonder, there was a post on Reddit a couple days back that was celebrating all the cover artists. Did you see that?
I did not.
There was it actually put the picture of like the people that were behind the cover art. I don't know that this specific one was on there, but Criterion was on there. Actually, you know what? It may have been a Criterion post. Maybe that's why. And now that I think about it, maybe it was on the Criterion sub. But yeah, I love to know who's making these designs, because like what a fun job to watch the movies and have to kind of try to capture the spirit of the movie in a custom artwork.
Right. And not often enough are we even given the names, let alone credit with like an Instagram handle or something to be able to find them.
Right.
Criterion's actually really good about it. At the bottom of most of their announcements, they do usually credit the artist, but like Shout Factory is genuinely pretty open about it usually, but not all the other ones. Some of them do.
Yeah, according to Lewis over at Massacre, they're all his people that he found. That's what he claims. Well,
for all of the boutiques.
yeah, everybody uses his art, so we'll see if that's.
Ken is asking, so the Scaremaker slip will have the Osborne artwork on the inside, right? Absolutely. I can pretty much guarantee that it'll have the opposite, will look just like this. And honestly, this slip will probably come with the Scaremaker artwork on the inside as well. I would not be surprised about that at all.
Yeah.
Sardis says, anyone else remember the phone in her hand? We're not all that young. Other than Girls Night Out, they got an exciting announcement here. I don't know about you. How do you feel about Gaspar Noé?
Okay, so I know he's a controversial guy. I love his stuff. I haven't seen Lux Eterna, but who was it? Was it Second Sight that put out Irreversible? It was Second Sight, right?
Indicator.
Indicator. Yeah, of course. Thank you. That was an instant buy for me. I think
Yes.
when he's good, I really like his stuff.
I agree. I do. Obviously, he's struck some nerves, we'll say, with some of his releases. This is Lux Eterna, one of his newer films. This is from 2019, and as they really laid it out here, Gaspar Noé, the arch provocateur of New French Extremity, responsible for Irreversible and Enter the Void, blurs the boundaries between reality and fiction in Lux Eterna. His ode to the suffering and sacrifices involved in the creation of art. Now, important to know about this is only coming in the UK from Arrow, because the US will see a release from Vinegar Syndrome partner label Yellow Veil Pictures. This was available to pre-order ever so momentarily on Diabolic, and they pulled the listing. Grindhouse Video also had it listed, and it was pulled just shortly after that. But this should be pretty readily available. Obviously, you can order it straight from Arrow. I'm willing to bet Orbit will also get this in.
I'm sure.
Yes, Mitchell says this is the one Arrow was asked to not release in the US, and that's because Yellow Veil was already working on their deal.
Yeah, you know what? Actually, maybe not, because Orbit put up the Obayashi trilogy, the anti-war trilogy that came out from Third Window, and they pulled it down, and the next day they had up the
Wicked Warist and Funky Forest?
Man, I'm sorry. That's exactly what it was. Yeah, it was Funky Forest and Warp Forest. Yeah. And then the next day they pulled it down and put up the Era 4444 one. So maybe even Orbit won't have it, which would be nuts. They have all this stuff.
Yeah, that's possible. And Orbit's pretty close with Vinegar Syndrome. They sell a lot of their stuff. They get all the VSAs and all that. So that's possible. Yeah. What's going on, Tom? Glad you're here. So let's go into this one a little bit. This one says, French cinema icons Charlotte Gainsbourg and Beatrice, I'm assuming that's pronounced Daly or Daye, playing themselves, stars the lead actress and the director of an experimental film about witches. But as preparations for the shoot get underway, their increasingly chaotic production slowly unravels as egos and bitter resentments rise to the surface, threatening to derail the entire enterprise. This is shot over just 5 days and largely improvised by the superlative cast. Lux Eterna is a powerful, hypnotic assault on the senses like no other, cementing Noé's position as one of the most incendiary voices in cinema today. Yeah. It's Noé, so there's a lot to it. First off, coming on this, brand new audio commentary by Kat Ellinger, which, if it wasn't Noé, that alone would have made me pre-order this because I love Kat Ellinger so much. Yeah. But to see those two combined, this is going to be great.
Well, I mean, Charlotte Gainsbourg is a hell of an actress too. I'm trying to remember why Beatrice Daly sounds so familiar. Was she the one from Betty Blue?
Yes, I believe it does say that. Yes, from Betty Blue and Inside as well.
Yeah, she's a good actress too. I mean, he's good. He gets very talented people in his movies, but yeah, I can't wait to see this.
Your counterpart, Zach, says they better offer a better cover or I'm importing. First off, I don't see it getting much better than this. This slip is great.
Seriously.
Let's see. Other than that, one thing I wanted to highlight here is there is a brand new visual essay on witchcraft in cinema by author and critic Miranda Corcoran. Sounds enticing to me. But then there's also The Flicker, a 30-minute short film by Tony Conrad whose strobing effect inspired Lux Eterna. Super interesting. And
yeah, I'm just thinking of the sorry that there's 2 points of interest there. The first one, Severin put out the All Haunts BRs. It feels like this is a really good time for kind of like folk cinema.
it really is.
And I don't know if this falls under that or not. But
speaking of that, one that I was going to bring up later tonight, but this is the perfect segue, so I'll just talk about it now. Did you see 2021's Antlers?
Oh, I'm so bad on current releases. No, but I know it's an amazing cover. I really want to see it.
I'm usually fairly bad on them as well. I've forced myself in the last couple months to try to get caught up with a bunch of them that were on my must-watch list. I'm still many behind, but I just watched Antlers this week, and it is a very modern folk horror film, and I highly recommend it. It got awful reviews for some reason, and it turned out to be like surprisingly good. There's some really good practical effects, which is rare. Jesse Plemons is in it and is freaking great. He is just stupendous. The acting overall is really good. There is a couple shoddy CGI scenes that they had to use CGI in, and I understand that, but it's about the Wendigo, and it works pretty well. They do change some aspects of it, but the practical effects alone made it a must watch for me. There is a wicked scene at the end where they show the actual Wendigo creature, and this is not a spoiler, or I wouldn't be saying this, but I've never seen this done in a movie. They have the Wendigo, and he has the skin of somebody's face over his face, and it wasn't like done on purpose. It was just the way that they made the mythology of the Wendigo work, is that it made sense. And that shot alone was one of the most gnarly things I've seen in a couple of years in modern cinema. It was great.
I love it. Have you ever seen Larry Fessenden's Wendigo?
A long time ago when it first came out. And first of all, Larry Fessenden does not get spoken about enough. He is surprisingly good.
He's so good. So, I mean, low budget stuff, but he tells a hell of a story.
He really does. And also he acts. And a lot of people that can write that well, they usually can't act. And he's not amazing, but he's pretty good.
Yeah.
So back to Gaspar Noé, we have this, and this is coming in a slip release. This isn't getting like one of the big hard box releases, but we are getting in a hard box Enter the Void, the other one that they just alluded to in that last announcement. Now, one thing that in these announcements that a lot of people don't pick up on, when some retailers or distributors, when they announce things and they have Gaspar Noé, the maker of Enter the Void and blah blah blah, and they possibly have rights to release some of the other films, that means that other one might be coming. So if you look on this last one, they said Gaspar Noé, who did Irreversible and Enter the Void. Obviously, they don't have Irreversible, but Irreversible doesn't have a U.S. release. So I was thinking, what if maybe eventually they put out Irreversible in the U.S.? Could be. I'm not saying that's coming, but it's a possibility. So Enter the Void is not one that got this huge release, and now it is time. So this is only coming in the UK, and this is from 2009. And also from Gaspar Noé. So this says, American siblings Oscar and Linda eke out a shared existence in Tokyo, he by dealing drugs, she by working as a stripper. However, tragedy strikes when a deal turns sour and Oscar is shot by the police. As his lifeless body lies on the floor of a public toilet, his soul floats high above the neon-drenched Tokyo streets, observing the effect of his death on his sister and reliving the events in his life that brought him to this juncture. First off, I believe you've seen Into the Void, right?
No.
No? Okay,
No.
I thought you had said that you did.
No, I haven't. I'm so excited for this.
Sadly, I've not seen it either. I was waiting for a good release of this before I went out and got, I think there was an old DVD of this. I'm not trying to be a quality snob, but lately I kind of have been. I don't really want to buy a DVD for something that is likely to get a Blu-ray.
I mean, but also Noé is not somebody who takes that kind of stuff lightly. Like, technically his films are very planned out.
Things like Climax is wild and beautiful, and even Irreversible. That just got the first semi-wide Blu-ray release. There was one I think that came from Korea as part of like Nova Media in a very limited slipcase release, something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it has not gotten a big release. So I am stoked that this is getting the big hard box release. So this has 1080p Blu-ray of the 143-minute UK theatrical cut and the full-length 161-minute director's cut. Subtitles for both. Enter the Sensorium, a brand new visual essay on the film by author and critic Alexandra Heller Nicholas, who has been doing a lot of stuff recently. So stoked on that. Brand new video interview with typography designer and long-term Noé collaborator Tom Can.
Wow.
8 deleted scenes, archival making of, archival vortex featurette, DMT loop featurette, and a whole bunch of trailers, image gallery, all that stuff. But then limited edition packaging with reversible sleeve featuring 2 choices of artwork, illustrated collector's booklet featuring new writing on the film by John Towson and Rich Johnson, and an oral history of the film by Stephen Hanley, plus a fold-out double-sided poster featuring both of the choices of artwork for on the poster, and then 6 double-sided postcard-sized art cards.
It's crazy, man. Like,
so much in these.
Yeah. It's amazing. But I was trying to think about this because when I saw Enter the Void, we've been talking a lot to these folks. And I know you talked to Jared as well about this recently.
Yep.
Rights is a huge issue as to what comes out, like the ability to actually acquire some of this stuff. It's so expensive.
Yep.
I can't imagine Noé's stuff is cheap.
No.
So, these kind of big blowout editions kind of make sense for that, right? Because you've got to recoup some cost.
Exactly. And the big thing is I want to know how much time went into this, because something like this, with how much Noé cares about it, it had to be in the pipeline for a while, I would say.
Yeah.
Especially to put out 2 films of his at the same time.
Right. I was hoping that they were going to do not Stand By Me. What's it called? It's
I Stand Alone.
I Stand Alone. Have you seen that?
I've not seen it. I think I have the DVD. It is buried in my closet. I've not watched it yet, but again, that one's never gotten a Blu-ray release from anywhere.
I mean, shocker, it's pretty fucked up.
Right. And it's got a pretty famous cover of a guy holding a gun to his head.
Yeah. But it's great. It's really, really good early film from him. So.
My friend John here in the chat says, Enter the Void has been on my list for a while. Quentin Tarantino says it has the best opening credit sequence ever, which immediately piques my interest.
Yeah.
And then we got a couple people saying they need to watch Irreversible. Dustin saying, I've not seen any of his films. I would suggest it. What is the appropriate way to say this? So Irreversible is talked about as this incredibly rough, sadistic movie. And I don't know that I'm just softened to it, but in all reality, there are 2 scenes that are kind of hard to watch. There's one scene which is right in the very beginning of the film, which has some heightened violence. And then there is an extended sexual assault scene, but it is not done in a way to highlight the sexual assault. It is literally made in a way to empathize with it and make you feel the emotional gut punch of the third act. And Irreversible is amazing in that sense.
Yeah, I remember I saw that in theaters actually, and I saw it again in theaters, and I questioned my life choices when I went back to see it. But the reason I like it is because the way that they look at how time destroys everything. I don't want to spoil anything, but that's kind of that theme that's explored throughout the movie, is that time destroys everything, right? And by playing with time the way that he does, and the timing of when things are intense and terrible and when things are happy, it just leaves this really mixed, crazy kind of swirl of emotions. And I mean, he had control of me. He did it, I think he accomplished what he set out to do. And that turned me on to him. So anyways, I have a soft spot for that movie. I can't imagine watching it all the time though. It's a tough watch.
It is. And one last thing I will say before we stop just worshiping Gaspar Noé. The thing that I appreciate about Irreversible is, for me, as not to make this anything very politically correct or anything like that, but as a male, watching an extended, awkward feeling sexual assault scene like that really makes you empathize with that character in a way that you really can't in a lot of different situations. Obviously, I'll never feel what she felt. I'll never feel what other people who, have come out as victims of things have felt. But it is one of those situations that really can put you in that scene and feel it in a way that you never could have imagined possible.
Yeah, it's true.
And then wanted to highlight too, your friend Zach here says new French Extremity stuff is mostly in DVD. Be nice to see more of it get Blu-ray. I will highlight, if you have Shudder, on March 1st, 2 days ago, they just added a giant wave of new French Extremity to Shudder in high definition. So they have Inside, Martyrs, High Tension. There is 2 or 3 more, and all of them just got added on March 1st. Unfortunately, the way that Shudder gets right sometimes, that sometimes only lasts a month. So if you've been wanting to see them and you have Shudder, make that a priority. No idea how long they're going to be there, but it is the perfect time to be wanting to get into French Extremity.
And High Tension is so good.
High Tension, I think, was the first French Extreme film I ever saw, and I fell in love with the genre before I saw anything else. I love High Tension.
Yeah.
Wow, we're not even through Arrow yet. Next one, speaking of what we just mentioned a little while ago, Candyman in 4K. So Arrow is putting out in the UK only Candyman in 4K. Now, it is important to point out this is all of the exact same packaging that they had released when they put it out on Blu-ray. None of the posters are different. None of anything is different other than the words like 4K, 2160p. That is different. Everything else, exactly the same. And I don't believe, just making sure real quick, yes, there is not any new special features in here unless somebody knows something I don't. Nothing was added to this release at all. It is just a 4K UHD disc of their previous scan with HDR grading and all that, but no new features.
And they're not even including the Blu-ray.
No.
Okay.
They are not. And one of the things that I kind of want to highlight on that, I did mention this a couple weeks ago. There is a video on YouTube, and I need to share it on my YouTube channel because it is so important. A couple of the guys from Arrow did an interview, and they highlighted that the reason they do that, where it's only 4K on some of these, and also which titles they're choosing to do 4K, is because some of these releases, the 4K is 3 times the cost of a Blu-ray release because of how much extra work goes into it. On top of the extra time, the HDR grading, the more involved scan that goes into it, on top of that, 3 times the cost, which is crazy.
Yeah. It's interesting. I wonder, I mean, you're definitely in the hundreds of thousands of dollars at that point.
All in, potentially. Yeah.
By the time you're pressing the discs and everything, because I'm trying to remember what they said. There was a breakdown. Was it, I think it was, who did the breakdown now? Oh, it was the Deaf Crocodile guys. They did a breakdown, and even the titles that they do, when they did, back when they were with Arbelos, they did, what's that really crazy kind of rapey Japanese cartoon that they put out? Belladonna of Sadness. That one was over $100,000 for that restoration.
Jesus. And I can't imagine that made any money, if at all, really.
Theatrical is how they make their money. Yeah, not just strictly from Blu-ray. Yeah.
Right. Let's see. Flex is asking, are all 4K movies region free? So technically, the format itself has nothing written in it for region locking. However, there have been, at this point, I believe, 4 releases worldwide that have been region locked, and only one of them were in the US, and it was a Shout Factory disc for I think it's Weathering with You. Yeah. And it's kind of a shady thing. They're not supposed to be able to do that. The other 3 are probably titles you were never going to import, so don't worry about it. Basically, anything that you're going to want to watch, unless you're really into that Shout Factory Weathering with You, it's going to be region free. 4K is all supposed to be region free. There is not even language in the format at all for being region locked. All right, another fun one. Arrow in the US only, not in the UK at all. This is coming to the US. Are releasing One Armed Boxer from 1972. And this was previously released, I believe, by Eureka, not 88 Films. I always get that mixed up because 88 Films has done most of the Shaw Brothers things.
Right.
So One Arms Boxer is coming. This is the new artwork. And then the Arrow Store site exclusive, they're releasing this original poster art, which I got to love. This slip is great.
Amazing.
So for those that don't know, this is Yu Qianlong is the best fighter to come out of his local martial arts school, but when he crosses the ruthless leader of a local crime syndicate, the big boss's brutal bevy of deadly killers make mincemeat out of the school and everyone inside. Now the only survivor of the massacre and short of one appendage, Yu is gifted a powerful elixir that promises to give him the strength to take swift revenge on the army of assassins, each representing the most lethal forms of fighting from across the Eastern Hemisphere. So as far as I can tell, the stuff that they have on here is literally just a copy of the Eureka disc. I don't think there is anything brand new.
Yeah, that's probably true. Because they would put like new something, you know.
Correct.
Unless it's one of the smaller features. But have you seen many Jimmy Yu films or Jimmy Wang films?
Jimmy Wang Yu. I've seen a couple a long time ago. I've not really dove in since this big resurgence lately. I've focused on other things.
Anyways, just a shout out to his movies are so entertaining. He has another one with a guy with one-armed swordsman, I believe.
Yep.
He's got one about somebody who's like a flying guillotine. Anyways, his movies are wacky and they're really fun.
Here, actually, in the second paragraph, it says, proving once and for all that you only need 5 fingers of death to get the job done, Wang would later reprise his role in the infamous sequel, Master of the Flying Guillotine. Yeah. But it's the dementedly inventive original where he's arguably at the height of his powers. And one thing I wanted to say about this is that they also have on here the commentary by Frank Jiang from the New York Asian Film Festival. Frank Jiang is a friend of the channel, and if you are interested, we had on our other show, Discovering Cinema, channel link is in the description below. We had Frank Jiang on and just talked to him for almost 2 hours, and the dude is one of the most knowledgeable people you will ever meet on Hong Kong cinema, on all Asian cinema, really. But this guy still, he's like in his mid-50s, has like 3 full-time jobs. He does commentaries at least once or twice a month. Dude is a beast, and if you really want to dive in and learn, go back and watch that episode on Discovering Cinema because he is great.
Cool.
Next from Arrow, this is a big one, and this is coming in the US and the UK. We are getting Wild Things from 1998 in 4K. Are you a big erotic thriller fan?
No. I mean, look, I'm going to be honest. This is a late night show. I watched this movie. I've watched 4 minutes of this movie 50 times when I was in high school. I don't know. I can't promise you that I've seen the whole thing all the way through. I don't know for sure that I know the plot.
Well, speaking of the plot, let's go into that real quick. Popular and charming student counselor Sam Lombardo, which, of course, an erotic thriller, your character title is going to be Sam Lombardo, is no stranger to being the focus of female attention within the moneyed cliques of Florida's Blue Bay. His fortunes are about to change dramatically, however, when one of the wealthiest students at his high school, sultry siren Kelly Van Ryan, accuses him of rape. The charge looks sure to stick when another girl from the other end of the social spectrum, Susie Toller, or I think it's Toller actually, steps forward with her own allegations. But Detective Duquette smells something fishy, and the truth is as murky and dangerous as the alligator-infested swamps in the hinterlands of this affluent beach community. Wild Things is, it's wild. First of all, the cast in this is incredible. We have Matt Dillon, we have Denise Richards, we have Neve Campbell, we have Kevin Bacon, and Kevin Bacon shows some stuff off in this movie.
It's a movie where people show stuff.
Yeah, and it's a great one. There is a couple scenes that have been cemented in GIF history across the internet.
Yeah, for sure.
Wild Things is great. If you are looking to get into this, absolutely loaded with special features. But the big thing, this is the limited edition box set that they are releasing. And they are also releasing this limited edition Steelbook box set, just like they did with Dune. Now, this is dual format, Blu-ray and 4K, hard box, slip, case, all across the Steelbook. And then it does have the book with it and all that. And then they are also releasing just the Steelbook by itself. Now, if you notice, the artwork is very similar to the True Romance artwork. It's the exact same artist. And personally, I think it looks great. No?
No, sorry. I with all respect to the artist, I know how hard they work for this. You know what? Okay, I haven't seen like I said, I haven't even seen the whole movie. Maybe it really fits the vibe.
It does. It really does. But
Okay.
on top of that, one of the things is I hated the True Romance Steelbook when it got announced. Holding it in the hand, this artwork looks 10 times better.
Okay.
And I can see how this is going to look a lot better in the hand than it does on the screen.
So question for the people with no self-control that are listening, and maybe a question for you too, Ryan. Do you buy both? Do you buy just the Steelbook? Do you buy just the limited packaging? Where do you go?
For me on this one, I am choosing the limited Steelbook. Kind of a best of both worlds thing. You get the Steelbook art, you get this different slip box that is different than, let's see, the first one, the box is this more like this is more like the thriller focus of the movie type of slip box. This is more of the erotic focus slip box. It's genuinely a fun movie. But I am going to highlight one thing from Flex. Does Wild Things deserve this kind of treatment? Absolutely not. It probably deserves a 4K because, like I've said on this channel before, I think most movies deserve a 4K. I think that they should be scanned in the highest quality possible. They should probably get good color grading. They should get something where they get attention done to preserve it faithfully in the best way possible. Does it need multiple posters, art cards, 3 discs, and hours and hours of new features? No, probably not. But it's fun, and honestly, I am a big fan of 90s erotic thrillers, and I think that this and the imprint box set for the After Dark Noir that they're putting out are kind of signaling a return to that. And then even Troma just did their Sexy box, which is all 90s kind of erotic thrillers. They're more like Skinamax titles.
I was just looking really quick. I thought this made $100 million. I guess it didn't. It probably made $100 million in rentals, but
It did.
Okay, yeah, this is a hot rental. But
this was a big blockbuster title.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I feel like talking of like rights issues and stuff. Like one of the interesting things I've noticed with Arrow, even before they got bought up by the Hut Group, but I'm figuring this is kind of signaling this, is like they're going into discs that will go well beyond like the boutique collector that's into genre films. Like these titles that they're putting out are like they have like big appeal. Like a lot of different folks know about these movies. And
Right.
It certainly falls into that category.
One thing I will say is that if you have been to a Best Buy that still has any physical media, Arrow titles have been showing up in Best Buy recently. Dune in 4K has been in Best Buy. This is another example of a title that will be in Best Buy in 4K because they will be able to sell it for $32 and make a good $12 on that release every single time. And people that are just there looking for a USB cable that they need today are more likely to pick up Wild Things than you think, because the kind of people that are shopping at Best Buy for a USB cable were 22 when this came out.
That's a good point. That's a good point. It's so right.
One thing I wanted to highlight before I go to the absolute next title is O.C. Floyd saying you can see Kevin's bacon in 4K. That's way too good of a joke to pass up. I got to admit, I almost said Kevin goes whole hog, but I didn't think that was going to fit close enough with the bacon title. So that was Arrow, and then we got a tease from Second Sight that they are currently in the works for 4K later this year on Texas Chainsaw Massacre 1974.
I've never heard of this movie before.
First off, what do you think about Second Sight?
Okay, so we had the most inside track possible. Ask him directly, would he be on the podcast? And he was very polite, but said, I don't do press. So nobody knows anything about this guy other than his name is Chris something. So I like him already. It's a combined effort. Chris does like the packaging and sort of like the reasons everybody loves Second Sight is sort of Chris. And then Phil from Fractured Visions is the one that does all the supplemental material. And I think it's just a like 1.5 man shop.
Right.
And the fact that that's the background for this company blows my mind. Like, how is that possible?
I agree. And then on top of that, they literally have emerged as one of the best in the game for coming out with complete packaging for films that, honestly, I can't think of anything they've put out that hasn't deserved the treatment that they've got. So I don't think that they've had their wild things, which is, going above and beyond on something that probably doesn't need to go above and beyond like that. And speaking of that, your friend Zach here says maybe Arrow can do Basic Instinct 4K for the US. It would pair well. I would not be surprised at all if that is already in the works and probably getting announced soon.
Any of y'all have the old Basic Instinct DVD with the ice pick in it?
I remember seeing it. I do not have that.
I still have it on my shelf somewhere.
So yeah, Second Sight, Texas Chainsaw Massacre in 4K coming later this year. First of all, a lot of people are going to complain that this does not need 4K, that it looks just fine on Blu-ray. Keep in mind, the HDR is going to make this movie look completely different than you've ever seen it before, and in a good way. Not like it looks muddy or green, like the Criterion release of Memories of Murder or anything like that. That this is going to be a good 4K release, I guarantee it. The flares from this, the colors are going to be popping more than you've ever expected, but it is going to be great. Obviously, this film has a lot of releases over the years, probably too many. I think the only movie that has maybe been exploited worse than this is The Evil Dead and The Evil Dead 2. But I am comfortable saying the Second Sight release of this is going to be the definitive release of Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Totally.
And we'll be talking more about Second Sight in just a second. But first, let's talk about a fun one, Cauldron. Cauldron Films, headed by Jesse from Diabolic, is putting out 2 titles that are up for pre-order now on cauldron-films.com and on Diabolic, and they are shipping in late May. First one, I do not know how to say this. Just off the top of my head, I would say Sator or Sator. I'm assuming it's Sator. This is from 2019, and both of these are fairly modern, which is not very Cauldron-like. However, Jesse is saying that they will very much feel like Cauldron Films.
Okay.
So this is from 2019, and the tagline is, "After you have suffered, he will find you." And it says, secluded in a desolate forest, home to little more than the decaying remnants of the past, a broken family is further torn apart by a mysterious death. Adam, guided by a pervasive sense of dread, hunts for answers only to learn that they are not alone. An insidious presence by the name of Sator, whatever, has been observing his family, subtly influencing all of them for years in an attempt to claim them. Shot in the Santa Cruz Mountains and drawing from his grandmother's real-life belief in a protective spirit that spoke to her, Sator quietly unspools a story of isolation and dread that fits firmly into the recent wave of unsettling art house horror. Mm-hmm. Cauldron Films is honored to release the worldwide Blu-ray debut of this film that Paste Magazine named the best horror film of 2021. And this has subs, behind the scenes, director's commentary, trailer, a mini poster that is folded, and then the high quality slipcase. This is limited to only 1,000 copies.
I wonder if that's included as a retail edition or something. But wasn't this guy's Jordan Graham? Wasn't he the guy that did? There was that movie that came out about 10 years ago called Spectre. Wasn't that him? Let me check really fast.
Spectre, interesting.
Yeah, same guy. Spectre's cool, man. Like, this guy does a lot with his stories. I'm excited about. Let's just I don't know, Sator, I guess. Like, I'm excited about this.
This is how Mitchell says it's pronounced like that. So That works. And then our friend John says it is a slow burn with a great finale, creepy, but I'm not sure the juice is worth the squeeze.
Okay.
And then, so that is the first one. Again, limited to only 1,000. And let's see, is this the one? Yes, this is the one that I really wanted to highlight at the end. So we'll talk about that in just a second. This is Lisa or Liza the Fox Fairy from 2015, also coming to Cauldron. The suitor's only rival is death. Lisa is a lonely nurse whose only company is the ghost of a long dead Japanese pop star. Out of jealousy, he turns her into a fox fairy, and now everyone that is attracted to Lisa dies a horrible death. In order to finally find true love, Lisa must overcome the curse and defeat the jealousy of her suave supernatural suitor. Imagine the candy-coated aesthetic of Amelie crossed with the darkly comic mean streak, and you have Lisa the Fox Fairy. Although it was released in 2015 and played the US festival circuit, Lisa has been unavailable on Blu-ray worldwide until now. And this has English subs, behind the scenes interview, storyboards, music video, trailer, again with the Kat Ellinger, an audio essay by Kat Ellinger, a mini poster folded inside, high quality slipcase featuring artwork by Haunt Love. And then it says limited to 1,500 copies, and this is a one-time pressing, no standard edition to follow. So if you really want this one, this is the one that you would want to grab, and make sure that you're getting it now.
I want to know what's going on in Hungary. I've been watching some of Bela Tar's films recently. There's some good filmmaking coming out of Hungary, so I'm excited about this one.
Yeah, and the premise really right up my alley. Sounds
Yeah.
super interesting. But Cauldron really hitting hard, and they already started teasing a couple more releases on their website. They've got some more like 70s Giallo stuff like that coming. It's looking to be a good year from them.
I hope so for Jesse's sake. I hope he sells out like crazy.
And then, of course, the new label that is going to be a sub-label of this that I announced on my interview with Jared from Mondo Macabro. Jared and Jesse are coming together to partner on something called Gold. I believe it's called Gold Eagle Video. Or, sorry, Neon Eagle Video.
Neon, I think you said.
Yep, Neon Eagle Video. And that is going to be basically trashy action Asian films, which, amazing. And supposedly that's going to fall under the Cauldron banner. And they've already got multiple films lined up. I am so stoked about that one.
Yeah, good for those guys. They know how to put out. I mean, the stuff that Jared's doing is obviously world class. So I like the idea of them pairing up.
Yes, and they both have obviously been around for quite some time and really know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see here. I think the next one is the next Second Sight. Yes. So we are getting on April 19th in 4K from Second Sight, The Witch from 2015. And this limited edition release looks pretty freaking great. I love this artwork. Very much fits the tone of the film. Pretty much everybody has seen The Witch by now, so I'm not going to go through the synopsis here. But the really cool thing is the overwhelming abundance of new special features here. So 4K with Dolby Vision HDR, an archival audio commentary by the director Robert Eggers, new audio commentary by film writer and broadcaster Anna Bogutskaya, a Puritan Nightmare, a new interview with Robert Eggers, a new interview with Anya Taylor-Joy, a new interview with Ralph Ineson, a new interview with Kate Dickey, a new interview with actor Harvey Scrimshaw, and then features interviews with Robert Eggers and cast in a Primal Folktale is what they called it. And then there's a BFI London Film Festival Q&A with pretty much everybody involved, and then a short film called Brothers by Robert Eggers. This is just awesome. But the big thing that really stuck out to me, because I love my Second Sight releases for these, 150-page hardback book with new essays by Emerson Baker, Daniel Bird, Anton Battelle, Charles Bramesco, Lillian Crawford, Shaylee Rowan Legg, and Anya Stanley, plus stills, costume, and production design gallery with 6 collector's art cards.
Jeez. Talk about definitive editions. Like,
yeah,
you feel it every time.
And let me see. I think there is a picture of the expanded. Yes, here we go. So here are the art cards that are coming with it, and then the hardback book, and the box, and then the digipack. This is just incredible.
Yeah.
What do you think about The Witch?
Never heard of it. Um, no, isn't this an A24 movie, or am I off in
It
that?
is. Yes.
Okay. I didn't know that their releases are usually so good in and of themselves. I don't know. I guess the release of The Witch was pretty basic, though, right?
It was. They did put out the 4K in the US, but it's
Mhm.
there's not a ton on there.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything by Robert Eggers. I hope I can still be on the channel. Um, I like live in the like 50s through 90s kind of like. It's really rare that I see new stuff. I'm working on it. I'm working on that part of me. I'm trying to improve myself for you, Ryan.
Good. This one would fit your taste very well, I think.
I know I would love it. Yeah, I need to see it.
And then we are getting, speaking of coming from the 50s to 90s,
Jeez.
Kino Lorber is putting out Times Square from 1981 with a little known actor named Tim Curry. This one gets a new 4K restoration from the OCN, a new commentary by Kat Ellinger on a Kino release, and then audio commentary with the director and star Robin Johnson, and the trailer getting a classy slipcase and everything. This one says rich girl Pammy is the sheltered daughter of a prominent politician. Wild child Nikki is a tough runaway. Together, the two teens escape from a psychiatric hospital, and with the help of radio DJ Johnny LaGuardia, played by Tim Curry, playing a radio DJ, become punk rock heroes on the streets of New York City. But just as their outrageous new life begins to come together, they find that society wants to tear them apart. Can a sisterhood that runs soul deep survive the cold heart of the city? This one genuinely looks pretty fun to me. I've never seen this.
Yeah, I saw it on VHS actually, um,
Nice.
many moons ago. I think I'm trying to remember if this is one they like dance on a building at one point. I mean, that's such a vague thing to remember. I just have these like random memories of this
Of
movie, but I'm
course.
thinking it was super fun.
Yeah, it looks good to me. Not to mention it's Tim Curry playing a DJ. I kind of want to see that.
Right.
Speaking of Kino, their Sunday, or I think this was announced on Saturday this last week, they're putting out Bedtime for Bonzo from 1951. And the big name here is this stars Ronald Reagan, little known gentleman.
Look at that crazy monkey too.
Reagan or the Bonzo?
Maybe both.
But let's spend some time talking about the next Kino announcement. In 4K, this year, I believe. Well, they haven't specified, but I'm fairly certain this is going to come this year. We are getting 1955's Night of the Hunter.
Where's the clapping like icon? If there's this whole thing about like not every film deserves a 4K or whatever.
Right.
Like I just as soon as I saw this release, I just started imagining some of the shadow scenes in this movie and what they're gonna look like, and I got like goosebumps.
So, why don't you let everybody know your feelings on Night of the Hunter?
Oh, I get a lot. It's I saw it for the first time a year or two ago, and if you haven't seen it, like change that. Like the movie is unbelievable, and basically, if you can imagine a cinematic kind of universe they create or world they create, where they use camera angles and shadows to basically make things look not only larger than life, but like they really play with perspective in very innovative ways. Like something I really haven't seen before. Like there's a scene in particular where it's about this guy who's sort of chasing these kids, and he's a very evil man. And there's this one scene where he's in a basement and he's chasing them up the stairs of the basement. And the way that they shoot the scene, like, I mean, I can't imagine there's CGI. This movie was made in like 1700s, but the way that they film it, it's all you see his shadow, and it looks like he's growing as he reaches up the stairs for them. And it's like this, it's unbelievable, creepy horror vibes from a movie that starts off extremely sanitary and 50s kind of safe. And it's just, we could spend another 2 hours just talking about this movie and dissecting it. I think it plays extremely well as like an art house film. I think it plays extremely well as like a genre film. I think it covers the spectrum so well. It's wonderful.
This is a cornerstone film for Criterion. This is one that they have hung their hat on for quite some time. This has first off, some incredible, incredible acting in it. We have Robert Mitchum, Shelley Winters, both acting their ass off. But really, Charles Laughton is the main hero of this film, and there's so much that can be said about this that I can't just gush for the next half hour, or we will be here till 2 o'clock in the morning. But
Yeah.
Night of the Hunter is a psychological horror film rooted in religion, and it is beyond harrowing when you watch this for the first time to see yourself being able to understand what these people are fighting for and trying to live for. And by the end of it, it feels like you have been being chased. It's odd because it's shot in a way that, to me, like it very much has the 1955 feeling of possibly being uh kind of shot like a play. Basically, it's like a stage play in a lot of scenes, but it is done in such a way that it enhances every single aspect, and that's so difficult to convey vocally without just seeing it, because it is a work of art through and
Yeah,
through.
definitely.
um
It's,
Jeff is asking, is it Mitchum's best performance? Maybe. That would be tough. He's done quite a lot of really good things. And yeah, Zach says the underwater scene is still one of the greatest looking shots in film. It is such a creepy shot too. It is so well done.
it's amazing. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I think he really like people really like his performance in Cape Fear, right?
Yeah.
That might be up there. Anyways, I don't know. I guess we don't have to, but I think it's certainly top three for him. I have to imagine. I think he plays. Doesn't he play Marlowe in The Big Sleep?
I believe so.
It has to be up there. Anyways, whatever. But this is a good one.
There's a lot that people don't talk about with him too, that because he just did a lot of films back then.
Yeah.
There's one that he played. I think he was a senator for Alabama, and in fact, I think Betty White even was in that, playing the senator of Kansas or something like that, in a very small role. But he is this off the cuff communist hating senator he's great for that role, because there is this powerful feeling of him just standing on film. He is intimidating, just inherently being Robert Mitchum.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right. So the last thing to point out here is, obviously, Kino is killing 4K lately. They are taking so many titles from Criterion, not necessarily taking them from Criterion, because they are only putting out a lot of these on 4K, which means they don't have the rights to the blue. They are only releasing it on 4K. They are format locked, I guess you could say, into what they can release there. But a lot of these are MGM titles, and I believe this is their last MGM from the 50s, at least, that they are announcing in 4K. So they've taken a handful from Criterion. They've taken a lot from Scream Factory. Kino is just stepping up their game and putting their money on the table and killing it.
Yeah, yeah. Credit to where they. I mean, they really. It feels like it came out of nowhere too, because for so long they had quantity over quality, but that's not the case anymore. So.
And the crazy thing is, now they have both. They never step down the quantity. They are announcing things 5 and 6 times a week. It is crazy.
True.
Okay, let's get into Scream Factory, since I just brought them up. Speaking of 4K, Scream Factory on May 24th is releasing Life Force from a little-known actor named Toby Hooper. For those that don't know, a mission to investigate Halley's Comet discovers an even stranger phenomenon, an alien spacecraft. Following a deadly confrontation, the aliens arrive on Earth, where their seductive leader begins a terrifying campaign to drain the life force of everyone she encounters. Obviously, there is a focus on the word seductive there. Her victims, in turn, continue the cycle, and soon the entire planet is in mortal danger. And when the mission's sole survivor, played by Steve Railsback, sets out to stop her, he comes face to face with the most beautiful and most horrifying being he's ever known. Will he be able to destroy the vampiress, or will he become yet another victim of her fatal charm? And then the big thing that people were asking about on here, please note about the international cut. Canon cut the original camera negative to match the theatrical version of the film. Any trims from the original camera negative were not saved. As a result, the international cut only exists as an interpositive film element. We felt cutting those scenes into the original camera negative for a UHD release would be jarring because of the increase in resolution of 2160p. So this is an example of I really wish that they didn't make this choice for us. I wish they had this as an option on the disc.
Mm.
The international cut will be included, but only on Blu-ray. So that Blu-ray that they're including, it's literally just going to be the same disc from the Steelbook they put out a couple years ago. But either way, this is one that's going to look great in 4K, pretty much guaranteed. This is going to be a very interesting movie to see how they do with this, because this is the first 4K release of this film in the world. So this is all a Shout Factory. This is not a re-release or anything like that.
Are we like 100% sure that Poltergeist is a bigger draw than Texas Chainsaw Massacre? If they're going to call out from the director of Poltergeist as over to TCM, is that like? I wonder why they chose that.
Like I alluded to earlier, it is possible that they have the rights to Poltergeist and could be releasing that in 4K.
Oh yeah, good call.
I'm not going to say that they do, but that I would not be surprised at all with the titles they've been able to get. It would be a stunner. But yeah,
they're going to do a Hooper box set. That's going to be their big box set this year. You heard it here on this show first.
Okay, thanks for being here, Chris. Have a good night. No. So yeah, Life Force is great. When I said that there's a big focus on the word seductive, there's essentially a character in this who's nude for pretty much the entire movie. Life Force is a lot of fun, and it's decent. It's not peak Hooper, obviously, but it's good.
It's no Eaten Alive.
Oh God, I hate Eaten Alive. That movie is so bad. But when we talk about movies that I genuinely love and got excited for, we are getting a Blu-ray release, finally, of The Ghost and the Darkness, starring Michael Douglas and Val Kilmer. I love this godforsaken movie, and so many people hate it. I don't get why. But just to go into this, Michael Douglas and Val Kilmer bring to life the heart-pounding story based on true events in remote East Africa in 1896, when two murderous lions on a man-eating rampage force workers to stop construction on a railway. Big game hunter Charles Remington and engineer Lieutenant Colonel John Henry Patterson, such manly names in this movie, set out to stop the deadly predators. However, the lines between hunter and prey soon become blurred as the men enter a dark and unfamiliar wilderness where the thrill of the hunt quickly becomes the most dangerous game of their lives. Have you seen The Ghost in the Darkness?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, this is one of those ones I think I saw with commercials on like some edited version on TV or something. As you're going through the description, I have like certain images kind of flashing in my mind from the movie, but this is like an old memory.
Yeah, and this played heavily on like cable and stuff like that.
Yeah. Have you? I assume you've seen it by the way you're gushing about it.
Yes, this is one, I think my dad loved this movie. This is one that I watched a lot, and then because of the year that it was made in 96, this is right around when I first saw Halloween when I think it was 8. So 94, 95-ish, somewhere around there. And then right after that, it was let's show you pretty much everything, because now that you've watched Halloween, you can see anything, of course. So yeah, I watched Ghost in the Darkness a lot growing up, but this one's kind of a big deal because this has never been released on Blu anywhere. And this is a good Paramount release that I also would not be surprised if this was announced by Imprint here soon, since they've had such a close relationship with Paramount.
Yeah, that's a good point. Does it say? Okay, darn. I was hoping it said from the director of Nightmare on Elm Street 5. Just going along with our theory of what, because this is the guy that did Nightmare on Elm Street 5. I was hoping, just going along with the theory that it means like indicative of future releases.
Right.
But because people have been pushing for Scream to release that Noah's box set forever now.
Yep, and we'll see. I don't think that'll happen, actually. But
I don't think so, to be honest.
Yep. So they're doing The Ghost in the Darkness, and then I'm actually kind of excited because I love this movie. Again, 1996. I was a perfect year for me. In 4K, we are getting The Craft. Now, again, everybody knows what this is, especially because Scream just put this out a couple years ago. There is nothing new on this disc. It is just a 4K version of their previous release. Now,
Mm.
the big thing here, though, is that they are highlighting new 4K restoration by Sony. Sony does incredible work on their 4K restorations. Sony is probably, at least for me, probably number one studio for restoring their films in 4K. And I have a feeling that this is going to look just amazing. And this is also the first time that Sony, as far as I'm aware, has licensed out a 4K release of one of their films to a boutique.
Interesting. Okay.
Could
Well,
be a good sign. Could be a real good sign.
Yeah. I mean, these major studios, their vaults are just so deep. Like, they should let boutiques start digging around in there. That'd be great.
Yeah, and not to mention, why not make more money than you're making now? That seems to be what they're always about.
Right.
Okay, and then 4K of Escape from New York.
Wow.
This is a big one, obviously. And a lot of people, we knew this was coming because they are using the Studio Canal 4K restoration that they did, which means we will now have 3 out of the 4 that Studio Canal did. And based on that, I can basically 100% guarantee that before the year's over, we're going to have The Fog in 4K.
Mm-hmm.
I would not be surprised to see that be like an August or September release. I'm sure they have hopefully something decent sized for October, but The Fog would be a good primer.
Oh, last year was the Michael Myers stuff. Never mind. I was like, they didn't do a box set last year, but they had their big 4K year. Yeah.
Right. And, they've sort of hinted that they might be doing the rest of the Halloween in 4K, but I still think that's kind of a pipe dream with everybody that they would have to negotiate with.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this is a big one. Obviously, Carpenter is a god amongst men, and pretty much everybody that has seen Escape from New York love Escapes from New York. So this one is fun. Came out in 1981, before The Thing, before a lot of it was Pete Carpenter era basically.
Have you seen Escape from LA as well?
Yes, I've seen Escape from LA. I've got the 4K coming. I'm curious to see how good it looks. I don't think it's as bad as everybody makes it out to be.
I love it.
Yeah, it's fun.
I mean, he's the best basketball player in the world, and he can surf in the city. Like, what's not to love about that movie?
That's true. We got a question. Mitchell says, this brings up the question, is it the same UHD master for the digital, and has anyone seen a difference between the two, physical and digital? Well, first off, compression on a physical disc will always be better than digital. You're going to have artifacting on digital that will always look inferior to what you can see on physical. And even there are some Blu-ray physical that looks better than 4K digital because of that. So it is important to find the best that you can if that's what you're into. But I will say, having watched the Studio Canal 4K of Escape from New York, is that it's really good. I think that it's a fairly good 4K scan. It's got pretty good HDR. All of the blacks look rather deep in that movie. It's a very dark film, obviously, for what they're filming, and I think it'll look great. That being said, I also hope that they improve on the Studio Canal with their compression, because the 4K of They Live and what was the other one they put out? I'm blanking right now. Prince of Darkness.
Yeah,
both of them came out on 4K through Scream Factory after they did on Studio Canal, and they each technically look slightly better from Scream Factory. So I'm hoping that continues with this.
Yeah.
It's not a massive improvement, but slightly.
I just love that we live in a world where Carpenter's getting this kind of treatment.
And you have choices. Like, you can choose which country to buy 4K Escape from New York.
Exactly. It's great.
I just hope that it continues to things like In the Mouth of Madness, because he's got underrated titles that go above and beyond what some of the best features from other directors that are getting 4K releases. In the Mouth of Madness is such an incredible movie.
I feel like his titles must sell well, though. I bet it'll happen.
They do. I mean, Shout put out his Elvis movie. They got to do well.
Yeah.
And then, speaking of 4K re-releases, Scream Factory, this is our third option of the night. They are putting out Candyman in 4K in the US. Now, the big thing here is they are using what Arrow Video did to this movie. They are using the Arrow Video 4K scan. So basically, they are probably going to be identical scans. I don't think that there's going to be much done to this in terms of better compression or anything like that. However, this does have a new interview with actress Vanessa Williams. So there is, if you're somebody that really wants all of the features that you can get, this does have a reason to have you upgrade to this one.
What does that mean for new 4K UHD presentation in Dolby Vision? I wonder, HDR10 compatible on both cuts of the film. I wonder why they're claiming that as new. I wonder if that means new over their old release.
Yes, and they can also make that claim if it's new to the region.
Yeah, that's
so just because it's coming out in the US and has not been available before, it is new.
Yeah, that's exactly probably what it is. Yeah.
And before I go on and we leave Carpenter in the dust, I will say, Mitchell, Big Trouble in Little China better be the next Carpenter to get a 4K.
We know for sure that Pelham is coming out. Has that been announced yet? Who's doing that?
Pelham. Oh, that's you're mixing up two of the titles. And for some reason, Assault on Precinct 13.
Assault on Precinct 13 is the one I'm thinking of. That's the one we know for sure is getting a scan.
Well, we know that Deaf Crocodile has restored it, but they have been claiming all along that they don't have the rights to physical.
No, I think it's going to be these guys.
I do too.
Yeah, we're still on Shout, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I think it's going to be these guys.
And we still got some rando titles here coming out from Shout, but after that, let's talk about the bundle that they're putting out for Escape from New York. So this comes with the Escape from New York 3-disc 4K set with the slipcover, a limited edition 18 by 24 inch rolled poster of the original theatrical artwork, which I love that that's the poster they're giving us. But the big thing here, just like the other Carpenter titles that they've done on 4K, we are getting a 7-inch on exclusive clear with blue splatter vinyl from Sacred Bones, featuring music from Escape from New York, composed by John Carpenter and recorded by John and his son Cody Carpenter and Daniel Davies. There is the 2017 version of the main title, and the B-side contains a never-before-released recording of 69th Street Bridge, recorded in 2020. And that vinyl is, through Scream Factory, limited to 2,000 copies. However, Sacred Bones also has their own variant of that vinyl, and personally, I think that Sacred Bones version actually looks a little bit better. But for people that aren't into the variants, that's no big deal. And then on top of that, if you get this giant package, Scream Factory and Gutter Garbs have teamed up to bring you the official Escape from New York enamel pin set, exclusive to shoutfactory.com and limited to only 1,000 units. And through that, these 5 little pieces of art in the bottom corner are the enamel pins that you're getting. And now, again, last time we talked about an enamel pin set coming from Scream Factory, everybody was crying because of how expensive it was. Enamel pins are expensive. Enamel pins take a lot to make, and they usually average in price somewhere between like $12 to $15. So at 5 of these, even on the low end there, 12 at 5, that's $60. The set here with the pins is $60 more than the set without the pins. And all you're getting is that pin set. So yeah, it's a little high, but if you are a pin collector, which a lot of people are, then it checks out, and you're used to that price range. I'm not going to necessarily defend that. I think that they probably could have made it about $40 to $45 more, and it would have made sense for them economically still.
It'll sell out probably, though.
Oh, yeah. I guarantee it will. It's a Carpenter. And honestly, that's probably why. The Happy Death Day one with the exclusive pin set, I think that was only $45 or $50 more. And that's it'll probably still sell out, but not as fast as this one.
We're living in interesting times. I know I don't want to go too big of a detour with this, but like if they do get the rights to Nightmare on Elm Street, they could kind of price it how they wanted, right?
Oh yeah.
If it was $300, it would sell.
Well, and the big question, if they get the rights to Nightmare on Elm Street, do they get the rights to all of them in 4K? Because we have never seen through any distributor an entire franchise on 4K all at once in a box set like that.
Mm-mm-mm-mm.
That, I mean, that would easily be $300 worth of content.
Yeah, that's true.
The amount of money that would go into scanning and color grading and HDR and all of that would be intense.
Yeah, that's true.
And I say that right after, if you went to the Amazon or Target buy two get one free sale and tried to order the Friday the 13th set, you could have got it for like $67 a few times,
Wow.
which is that's so cheap for that entire set. That set is incredible.
Like that doesn't even feel like they cover cost at that. Maybe so somehow, but that's crazy.
Yep. All right. That is a weird picture to follow that up with. Shout Factory is also putting out the 1997 Trekkies, the 25th anniversary edition. Get ready to beam up to a galaxy where autograph hounds abound, dentist drill in Federation garb, and the debate over Trekkies versus Trekkers rages on. For those of you that want this, you probably already know what this is. I'm not going to dive too deep into Trekkies. Next is Pupel of Chimney Town from 2020. That's probably not at all how you say that, but Shout Factory does a lot of these animated titles. So again, if you are looking for this, you probably already know about it. And going to move to the next one. This is a Scream Factory title that continues the erotic thriller trend.
Yeah, it does.
So this is, go ahead.
No, I said, yeah, it does.
This is Femme Fatale, directed by Brian De Palma from 2002. This is with Antonio Banderas and Rebecca Romaine Stamos. A $10 million diamond ripoff, a stolen identity, a new life, married to a diplomat. Laura, I think it's pronounced Laura. Laura Ash has risked one big, but then a tabloid shutterbug snaps her picture in Paris, and suddenly enemies from Laura's secret past know who and where she is, and they all want their share of the diamond heist, or her life, or both. And yeah, Femme Fatale is it's a movie.
Yeah, I wish I had done more research on '90s thrillers. I don't think that's a genre that I like. I mean, I've seen this movie on the shelves of video stores for years, but I don't think I ever saw it.
And if I remember right, I believe this is the first Blu-ray release of this one as well.
Yeah, nice.
Which is kind of a big deal for a De Palma movie.
Sure. Yeah, cool.
We are also getting from Shout Select 2 for the Money, featuring a really odd-looking Matthew McConaughey. We got Al Pacino, Matthew McConaughey, and Rene Russo, a name that I've not heard in a very long time.
Yeah, she was.
She was huge around this time. This is from 2005, when Brandon Lang is tapped to be the protege of sports gambling's power player Walter Abrams. He swiftly becomes the golden boy of the high rollers for consistently picking football winners. Now, with millions on the line, Brandon finds himself in a deadly game of con versus con with his mentor. Jeremy Piven is also in this. 2005 Jeremy Piven.
Nice.
This has audio commentary with the director DJ Caruso and screenwriter Dan Gilroy. The making of, insider interview with deleted scenes with optional audio commentary with DJ Caruso or Dan Gilroy. It's a decent little Shout Select release, but kind of an odd title.
This DJ Caruso guy, I think, if I'm not wrong, I think he's being asked to direct the 4th Triple X movie. You know that Vin Diesel series? I think he gets these like kind of like genre actiony movies to do. Shout Select is weird. Do you collect them? Are you complete on them?
No, nowhere near complete. They're one of those where I don't know, if they stuck to one type of film, it would be a lot easier to choose from. But I mean, for a company that has put out The Big Sleep, Liar Liar, and yeah, exactly. And then like the Pink Panther films, they don't really feel like they fit as a cohesive line. I think when they originally announced Shout Select that it was these are important type of films that they were trying to go for, and then I don't know that seemed to go away quite quickly.
Yeah, same thing. I can't keep up.
I mean, they've got some really great titles. I'm not taking that away from them, but the big thing with Shout Select is that they seem to have just stopped the collector's editions that they've put out. They only have been putting out like one every like 8 months or more. I think last year only had Explorers. That was a big collector's edition. That was a big title for Shout Select.
Interesting. Okay.
I mean, even this year we got Liar Liar. Just what was that, January that came out, or maybe February? But it had a new scan, and they didn't give it a collector's edition. They didn't put a slip on it. They didn't get a whole bunch of new extras, and I don't know why. That is a huge title to get.
Sure. Yeah.
In the comments, Nathan says Femme Fatale is awesome and it has style.
That sounds like a De Palma movie.
Yep.
Great.
Speaking of movies, I guess, that Shout Select puts out, they're also putting out Dinosaur World. If you're really looking for this, this is from 2020.
Hilarious. Dinosaur World.
Welcome to Dinosaur World, an eye-popping place where anything can happen and the life and death stakes are all too real.
So
great. I think that is an actual asteroid.
Yeah.
And it looks like there's two of them. Yeah, this I'm curious how many of these they're gonna sell.
Tens, dozens even.
Okay, moving on to something more up your time zone, at least. Son of Samson from 1960 is coming from Kino Lorber and is getting one of their now famous slipcovers that seemingly everything is getting. This is getting a new audio commentary by film historian David Del Valle and filmmaker historian Michael Varrati. Let's see.
Yeah, I was pumped to see this one. This is what's the so I'm gonna anyways. There's a one of these Italian Maciste films. It's one of these big kind of Italian like strongmen, sort of sword and sandal type things. That's it's one of the better ones in that genre. It's a really fun movie.
Yeah. And I believe they have rights for another one that is similar to this. I can't remember the title of the other one, but I think that is coming soon as well.
Is this part of their streaming thing? Have you ever tried their genre streaming thing?
I did when it first announced that it was coming out. I think, what did I watch in there? I think I watched like a Vincent Price movie and maybe one other. But I try not to stream so much. I've used it. The main reason I used it is because sometimes I would get lucky and be able to watch things while I work, and that's what I used it for, because they have a better option for things like this. It worked well for that for a while. But now I started that new position in I think it was November, and that was like a month after they announced it. So I've just been swamped since then.
Yeah.
Son of Samson, and this is coming on May 10th. All right. We did get a newsletter from Mondo Macabro, and at the end, they said that they are going to be having available to pre-order in late May or early June, The Other Side of the Mirror from Jess Franco.
Yeah.
In 1973.
Sorry, where did you said this was this is from, I missed this announcement. This is from Mondo Macabro?
Yep, came in their newsletter.
Oh, cool. Good for them.
This is a very late era Jess Franco, and I believe they are planning on having 3 or 4 titles available to pre-order at this time. So it'll be this plus 2 more or this plus 3 more at the end of May or early June that this is going to be available.
Yeah, good for
Big
that.
stuff coming for them this year.
This should sell really well. There's a lot of Jess Francoites.
I think that they are called Francophiles.
Oh, that's better. That's much better.
And so, yeah, they said, check out Justin Coffey's amazing new artwork for it above. It will be one of at least 3, possibly even 4 new limited edition blues that we'll have on sale, probably in May or early June. And then just to remind everybody that they are also doing Caligari in 4K during the Halloween sale. And then between the June announcements and the Halloween sale, there should be another round of pre-orders in there somewhere around like August-ish, I believe.
I think that's the one that's going to have their box set.
Either that or box set may be pushed to Halloween now.
Halloween, okay.
Yeah. Really, really great looking year for them, though. This one, Mitchell says this one is exciting. This one is indeed exciting. Mondo Macabro, they are seeming to ramp it up after a semi-slow I mean, even then, 2021 wasn't slow for them. Just not a lot that people seem to get like this fervor for, and they have some incredible stuff coming. Their first 4K, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
But now it's time to get into the big stuff. I almost feel like we should take an intermission and put on the "Let's All Go to the Lobby" song or something. Vinegar Syndrome on the 1st of March. They put up all of their March package that you can pre-order and all of their 317 partner label releases. First from Vinegar Syndrome, a 4K double feature of Schizoid, and then let me switch the artwork, and X-Ray. Now, for those of you that don't have a 10-minute memory, this exact double feature was previously released by Scream Factory. And it is still not like it's not. I don't think this is one that got super expensive. It may have, but these movies, Schizoid particularly, is not like incredible. I don't love it. X-Ray is pretty fun, but they're all right.
I was joking with Zach. I don't know if he's still on the line, but we were joking about. I really want one of the special features to be like some mention of how Klaus Kinski just like destroyed the set. It was like a real pain in the ass on the set for Schizoid. I mean, I don't know if that's true, but I'm assuming it was.
On most of his films, yes. I kind of want to start calling him Klaus Kinky now.
Yeah, I know, right?
Eric Johnson, talking about that last one, says, the only Jess Franco I've seen is Bloody Moon, which I hated. And I will say, I also did not like Bloody Moon. I think it is one of his worst movies. So if that means anything, Eric, I would strongly suggest looking at some of the other ones.
And
so go ahead.
No, I said that's saying something. Jess Franco's fine, but he has some bad movies in his catalog.
He's got some real stinkers. These two titles, the first one, like I said, Schizoid. Peter Fales is a renowned psychiatrist who is unable to reconcile his relationship with his teenage daughter, Allison. Julie, one of Peter's patients, is a successful advice columnist in the midst of a messy divorce who has also started receiving threatening letters. When a black-clad, scissors-wielding killer begins murdering people in Julie's life, she begins to suspect that her unknown writer and this mystery assailant might be one and the same. And that's from 1980. And then X-Rays from 1982. When Susan was a little girl, she rejected the Valentine of a love-struck classmate. Decades later, she's come to the hospital for a routine medical examination. But when her X-ray seems to show something unusual, Susan finds herself trapped in a bizarre medical nightmare, made all the worse as her vengeful childhood Valentine, disguised among the hospital staff, begins murdering everyone in his path as a means of proving his undying romantic obsession. Really unique premise for X-Ray, which is one of the main reasons why I like it.
Yeah. I haven't seen X-Ray, actually, but Zach was touting its praises, and now you are as well, so I'll definitely be excited for this one. Schizoid, what do you think? You have I forget if it's as a kind of a hobby or a formal training in counseling, kind of psychiatry, right? Psychology?
Yeah.
What do you think about all these movies that are having these really broad brush strokes on, official diagnoses like schizoid and these kind of things?
They, I mean, I don't. It could just be me, but I approach them obviously with levity first and foremost. But yeah. I think that at the heart they are, they're pure entertainment pieces. they're trash in that sense. Right. But the cool thing here, both of these are on 4K. So there is if you care about these movies in any sense, there's a legitimate reason to buy these over the Scream Factory release. This is a 3-disc set, 2 4Ks and a Blu-ray. The Blu-ray itself is Region A locked, and it's newly scanned and restored in 4K on both of these from their 35mm original camera negatives. And then there are new interviews with Schizoid writer, director, actress, makeup artist, and another actress. And then Ultraviolet Vengeance, the talent and technicians of X-Ray, a brand new making of documentary featuring interviews with the cast and crew of X-Ray. And I love the making of it that Vinegar Syndrome they're able to do. They really do great work.
Yeah.
Let's see. Mitchell said, "Is that not every Klaus Kinski vehicle movie?" Yeah, Klaus Kinski was a character. Yeah, this one looks really good. I am glad that it's a double feature and that they're not charging for two different 4K releases for these films. I think that would have pissed off a lot of people, considering it was a double feature released on Blue previously. But speaking of double features, they're also putting out Hard Rock Zombies from 1985 and a double feature with Slaughterhouse Rock from 1987. Now, the reason I bring that up is similar to that last one is because Slaughterhouse Rock had a pretty good release from Scorpion Releasing already. Have you seen either one of those?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. I've seen both. I mean, I don't know. I'm a little biased. I love this kind of stuff. It doesn't really matter how bad it is. If it has rock in it and like metal in it, I'm there.
I agree. I think this is a good double feature.
Yeah.
I'm glad that they were able to differentiate the upgrade that they're giving to Slaughterhouse Rock, give people a reason to get this, and primarily just having it be a double feature. It feels less like a cash grab because they genuinely could have released both of them as upgrades on their own.
Right. Yeah, they would have both sold probably, especially in Vinegar's line.
For sure. So, for those that don't know, Hard Rock Zombies from 1985, a heavy metal band has been invited to appear in a conservative small town. What they don't know is that their hosts are, in fact, a family of horrific and murderous mutants whose patriarch is none other than Hitler. After being swiftly murdered, Cassie, the only non-violent member of this depraved clan, wills the band back to life. Soon, the stuffy townspeople are faced with an unwelcome reckoning as the zombified musicians thrash and maim their way through the community in the name of grisly revenge and love. And then Slaughterhouse Rock, which I genuinely love Slaughterhouse Rock.
Yeah.
From 1987, Alex, a college student, is being plagued by strange dreams in which a grotesque man commits heinous acts of torture and murder. With the help of his friends, Alex discovers that he has an unexplained telepathic link to a notorious killer who once lived on Alcatraz Island and whose bloodlust extends beyond the grave.
Yeah.
When his supernatural experiences began taking on real-life manifestations, Alex and his friends sneak into the abandoned prison to put an end to their reign of terror, only to unwittingly walk into a bloodbath.
I like the way they start the last paragraph of their description on their site. I love this. Dispensing with any sense of narrative logic.
Which is true. A lot of this you gotta kind of put that, put some of those expectations to the side.
Totally. These are just silly fun movies. This is a really good one. I agree.
Let's see. Mitchell says, I've seen Slaughterhouse Rock's cover before, but never seen the movie. And it's a very iconic cover, so a lot of people will recognize that for sure.
Yeah.
Justin says, in the newsletter, they said that Slaughterhouse Rock has extra gore footage that wasn't in the other release, so that's a plus.
Great.
And then Nathan says they should have had better art for Hard Rock Zombies. I mean, it's not awful. It's decent, but I can understand that. And then some of the extras here, Hard Rock Zombies is newly scanned and restored in 2K, while Slaughterhouse Rock is newly scanned and restored in 4K. Never Say Die, a making of documentary featuring interviews with E.J. Kerr, Sam Mann, Gino Andrews, Mick McCain's, Ted Wells, Richard Vidan, and David O'Hara. That's coming on Hard Rock Zombies. And then, gotta love the title of this featurette with special effects artists Chris Briggs and Everett Burrell, Popcorn Farts and Low Budget Cheese. They also have an interview with actress Suzette Boggs and the Bible of Holy Moses, watching Hard Rock Zombies through a fanatic's eye, an interview with author Lucy Hall. And then Slaughterhouse Rocks, they've got an interview with the cinematographer, an interview with actress Tammy Hyler, and an interview with actor Nicholas Solozzi, and an interview with the actor Al Fleming. Not a whole lot on Slaughterhouse Rock, but it's still something.
I'm Team Nathan. I don't like the cover for Hard Rock Zombies.
Yeah, obviously it could have been better, for sure.
I mean, it is what it is. I got it. I mean, I'm a subscriber, so I get it anyways. But
right. John says, boy, if that Slaughterhouse Rock cover doesn't tickle your video store nostalgia happy place, I don't know what will.
Cheers to that.
Slaughterhouse Rock was everywhere. But this may be the biggest title that everybody is talking about this month.
Yeah,
Vinegar Syndrome somehow got reform school girls.
Yeah,
This is a big deal.
a huge deal.
Obviously, this has the legendary Sybil Danning, and this is a film that people genuinely know and love from a very, a deep place for a lot of people. This is from 1986, and the Pridemore Juvenile Detention Facility isn't just a place for troubled teenage girls to serve their time. Instead, it's a living hell filled with sexual depravity and violence. Jenny, a fresh inmate, becomes the de facto protector of Lisa, an innocent young girl forced to be a plaything to anyone after her body. Then there's Charlie, a hardened teenage lesbian who torments her fellow prisoners through brutal acts of sexual sadism. But no one instills more fear in even the toughest girls than the sadistic Edna, who, with the blind eye turned by money-hungry Warden Sutter, delights in terrorizing her beautiful prisoners. However, the girls have had enough, and things are about to change at Pridemore.
So this is a quick tangent, but it's directly related, I promise. Have you ever sat through Angel 3? Vinegar did that 3 Angel, like all the 3 Angel movies. That commentary is fascinating. Tom DeSimone, and then that director that I don't like, David DeCoteau. David is basically like, I guess he was kind of like mentored by Tom, and they both grew up in the world of like shooting pornography together, and then kind of transitioning into like kind of mainline genre films. And it's a really good commentary. So anyways, like, I'm sure that it will be good here as well. But like, if you want to hear two people that have grown up together, just kind of geeking out on like the way they got into filmmaking and what it was like what the lessons they learned from making pornography and like all this stuff. It's cool. I was shocked by it. Like, it's way better than the movie.
Yeah, and that's obviously not hard to do, but it's just a great reminder to really pay attention to the extras that are on some of these, because not only will it give you a new appreciation for like film in general, but sometimes a lot of these movies people loathe the first time they watch them, but just by watching the commentary, it can flip your entire understanding of a movie. It can give you the appreciation that you need to really understand like why they even made a film. You can get motivations. You can get, this took 4 days to film this way, and just listening to the story of why they did that, you suddenly appreciate everything so much more.
Yeah, totally.
So this one is region free, newly scanned and restored in 2K from the 35mm Inner Positive. There is also an extended making of documentary featuring brand new interviews with the cast and crew, which just excites me so much. Interview with the theatrical producer Alan Eichler, an interview with author and critic Brianna Whipple on the life and career of actress Wendy O. Williams. There's archival commentary track with the writer and director, which is great. And then commentary track with queer film historian Elizabeth Purcell, video footage from the play Woman Behind Bars, and then all of this stuff that's on everything. This is great. I'm glad that they got a title this big. This is one of those like big deal titles for them.
Yeah, it'll sell a lot for them, and good for them.
For sure.
Yeah.
Speaking of things that will sell a lot, how about the next VSA title that you can order now? This is Talons of the Eagle, featuring the man, the myth, the legend, Billy Blanks, and Jalal. I never remember how to say his last name. Is it Murray?
I think it's Murray, but I heard him someone said I don't know if this is a title he gave himself or if like people called him this, but they called him the Lebanese Steven Seagal. Like, I don't know, like, it's kind of, I can't get that out of my head now. He's so, he is so proud of himself in all these movies that VSA has been putting out. It cracks me up. So I can't wait to watch this one.
I got a question. What do you, before we get into the overall discussion of the movie, what do you feel that the VSA line has turned into for you? And what do you feel about the number of VSAs that we've gotten as well?
Oh, cool. I was literally thinking about this yesterday. It's so funny, but maybe we're just kind of on the simpatico here. So VSP represents sort of like modern films that Vinegar Syndrome's putting out that fit like their style, right?
Yep.
And then there's the main line, obviously, and then VSU I don't know. I guess like kind of the way you could think about it is like big, really famous like cult classics that they're bringing in like all the stops for and like really kind of blowing out of the water. Um,
And
VSA is a little
for
tough for me.
VSU's, by the way, they did say they wanted to highlight those because they don't fit with the Vinegar Syndrome line. It wouldn't make any sense on Vinegar Syndrome, but basically is what they said.
Okay. Then I guess the cynic in me says like, but they're movies they want to put out because they're going to sell
Right.
a lot. But which I mean, I'm really happy they did. Beastmaster's a lot of fun. Um, but VSA, I don't know. They're like they have Action USA, so anything else they do after that, they're forgiven for because that's one of the greatest movies of all time. And I'll fight you, like not you, but like anybody. Like that movie is like I've seen that movie I don't know 20 times at this point, and I was when they released that like it felt like I was falling in love. My heart like skipped. Um, yeah, they feel like they've been really into these Jalal Mary. He's like a producer that likes to do martial arts, I guess. So they've been really into his films, and fine, I guess. You know, they love the Cynthia Rothrock movies, and okay, like I don't know. I'm here for them. I'll keep supporting them. They've got me suckered in with that hard box. It looks nice and it has a number on it, so I'll keep going for a while.
And a poster with every single one.
And a poster, like and honestly, like a great release. Like the movies all have, they look and sound fantastic. I don't know. I'm neutral on them. What about you?
First off, Zach says if you want to go to sleep at some point, don't let Chris talk about Action USA. I will say, like first off, VSA stands for Vinegar Syndrome Archive, and they are supposedly treating it as the video store of your type of titles.
Yeah.
And what we got from them, some of them are great. Action USA, wonderful movie. I just did a review for Fortress of America. It's not an incredible movie, but it's a hell of a lot of fun. It was a very fun movie to watch. I was entertained the entire time. That being said, we are up to, I think they just announced number 21. I think this is 21.
Or
21 or 22.
I think it's 22, but they're right around there. Yeah.
So when they first put these out, we were getting like 4 or 5 a year.
Yeah.
Somewhere around there. And now we're getting like 2 during every sale and almost 1 a month.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say overkill necessarily, but it's just you're releasing a full label's worth of movies basically.
Interesting. Yeah, it kind of takes the like mystique out of it a little bit.
Exactly. And if you want them to feel special, like at least give some breathing room around them. And the only thing that made me really feel like that this time is you just did the big trilogy with Cynthia Rothrock, and it was great. Tiger Claws, it's a nice, decent package. Came in the same packaging, all that, and it was like $5 more, and it was 3 movies.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they put this with TC 2000 and make it a double feature, and even charge $5 more than regular VSA? But then you don't make people feel like, oh, I'm gonna buy 2 different Billy Blanks movies and spend $25 on each one.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
Yeah. I don't know.
I'm just curious how while you introduce the next title, I'm gonna check. I'm curious to see because they talk about like how these labels are selling out, like how many they have left. I'm curious to see. I'm curious to go back a few months and see if these are actually selling for them. Oh, Champagne and Bullets or Get Even is the other one that should be mentioned. That was a fantastic movie. So they have these ones that are big, like really, like I'm really proud that they're putting out every once in a while.
Yep, and again, they're wonderful releases. I love the case that they use, even though it's a lot of people hate trying to put the Blu-ray case back into it. I love that we get posters for them. I'm a sucker for posters. I love that they get a lot of features. It's great. I'm not saying don't buy or support the VSAs. They're genuinely great. So this one, DEA agent and martial arts expert Tyler Wilson, played by Billy Blanks himself, is sent on an assignment to Toronto where he is tasked with trying to stop an influx of narcotics into the States. Mm-hmm. Once in Toronto, Wilson is partnered with Detective Michael Reed, and the two undergo rigorous martial arts training in the hopes of entering a local fighting tournament and getting closer to a well-known drug dealer named Mr. Lee, played by James Hong. After saving Lee's life, Wilson and Reed go undercover in Lee's gang in order to find the evidence they need to put Lee away. However, their martial arts training will be put to the test when Wilson and Reed try to take down Lee's syndicate, and the two are forced to fight for their lives. With explosive action sequences and well-choreographed fight scenes, Talons of the Eagle remains one of the best from action producer Jalal Mehri, featuring high-octane martial arts performances from Billy Blanks and Jalal himself, as well as solid performances from Priscilla Barnes and the always enjoyable James Hong. Vinegar Syndrome Archive is proud to present Talons of the Eagle for the first time on Blu-ray, scanned in 4K from the OCN. This is from 1992, and it's region-free, and we are getting a commentary track with Jalal, and then a making-of documentary featuring interviews with the cast and crew, the original trailer, and then again, they all get double-sided posters with that new fancy VSA packaging, and this one is limited to 5,000.
I just had an idea. Did you see New York Ninja? Have you seen that yet?
Yes.
So you know how like all the voices are basically like this crew, right? It's like Roth, like the VSA line is basically like the voices of New York Ninja.
Right.
So maybe there's something there where they're like striking deals. I don't know.
And it makes sense. We do know that there are more Cynthia Rothrock films coming already. Yeah. So that makes sense.
And we're almost complete on Jalal Mehri, so maybe his films needed to be released.
Once we're complete, we can just be done for it then.
Hey.
And then they'll start releasing them in 4K or something. But then they this month OCN Distributions is putting out 11 different partner labels releases. 11. So let's break them all down. First one is from Saturn's Core Audio and Video. This one is Backwoods Marcy from 1998. And a lot of people are looking down on this one, but it's also kind of a unique and important title. This is the front of the slip, and then here is the back that says she's homeless and hungry for sex, blood, and revenge. So this one, a wrong turn during a business trip leads an unsuspecting yuppie down a perilous road of terror after he foolishly runs afoul of Marcy, a psychotic redneck homeless woman who dwells deep in the ominous swamplands of the New Jersey Pine Barrens. After capturing him and caging him like an animal, the depraved Marcy methodically tortures and rapes her helpless male captive. Upon his escape, a savage fight to the death ensues where only the most cunning of the two will survive. Now, the reason that it's looked at as important, they say in their copy here, one of the few shot-on-video movies in history to be helmed by a woman, Backwoods Marcy was written, produced, scored, and directed by actress-turned-filmmaker Dawn Murphy, who also turns in a tour de force acting performance and a dual role that earned her a Best Actress nomination at the 1999 B-Movie Awards. Let's see. This is a long sought-after, strangely feminist 90s era shot-on-video horror epic, newly uncovered and restored from the vaults of the infamous South Jersey-based studio Sharky Video. As an added bonus, Backwoods Marcy now comes paired with another Sharky Video curio, writer-director Dave Castiglione's 1995 brain-melting holiday-themed shot-on-video comedy, An Ex-Hooker's Christmas Carol. So this has a whole bunch of special features, and it is a double feature title. But Saturn's Core, like most people, are very anti-Saturn's Core because they're anti-shot-on-video. So what do you think?
I think, okay, two things. When we were talking, we had this brief discussion about like, are there any of the partner labels that we're not buying anymore or whatever? And Saturn's Core was one of my answers. But then these titles that they're releasing now actually keep drawing me in. I do like shot-on-video stuff to a certain extent. I think there's some cool storytelling coming from that. And I'm going to give them a shot.
I just got in my February stuff, and this one was super enticing to me from Saturn's Core. Red Spirit Lake, and then We Await was on the other side. And yeah, this release looks incredible. And it sounds like perfect for my taste.
I think that, they had the one that was, what's it called? Duck. Anyways, one of their releases was a movie that was about the Columbine massacre, but it was like this weird kind of like super dark comedy about these two kids that go in and shoot up schools. It felt like it was in very poor taste.
Was that Saturn's Core?
Yeah.
Oh, it was. Wow.
And it's like it seems to me like maybe kind of their identity is becoming these movies that are shocking from a cultural standpoint.
Right.
Like they're going and finding these things that are sort of like jarring culturally, and typically the financing for those is not coming through studios, because who's going to make, like, what studio is going to make Duck, the Carbine School Massacre?
Like 6 months after Columbine.
Yeah. So that's intriguing to me. Like, I want to give them another shot and just kind of see. Because I kind of like, I guess maybe like the spirit behind that. It feels kind of punk rock. Like I'm into it.
Right. And I really love the documentary they did on Wave.
Oh, I haven't seen it. Okay, I'll check it out.
I think that was their first release, actually.
On which movie?
It is
the Wave. Yeah.
Wave
I'm
Studio.
sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yes. Yeah. That was great. I'm sorry.
Mail Order Murder. That's what it was called.
No, I just yeah. No, I'm sorry. I didn't hear you right. Yeah, they did a great job with that, for sure. But also, I wanted to say it's interesting on this like feminist kind of thing. What was the movie that they just released through Vinegar Syndrome Pictures? The Scary of 61st.
Yep.
That's another one. It's like written by a woman, directed by a woman, starring women. Crazy. Like that movie's insane. Yep. I hate to say, like, I couldn't believe it was made by a woman, because that's not really fair. But like, I'm happy that women that are making those types of movies are now getting press and getting like attention, because they're crazy genre movies that are like you would like expect to be from a man historically. And so I'm really happy these voices are coming out.
And the cooler thing for me is that one is a very modern movie. That was just made, and it's very rooted in modern times. It's all about Jeffrey Epstein. So it's an interesting one. I just watched that one recently.
Yeah, it's wild.
Next up, from this cover art still from Factory 25, we are getting Hellaware from 2014. Hellaware gently satirizes the world of highbrow art through the eyes of a wannabe photographer who becomes consumed by the bright lights of mainstream success. Jaded by the incestuous New York socialite shit that sells at prominent art galleries, Nate embarks on a quest for a more authentic brand of contemporary art. When a coked-up YouTube search leads to a music video from Delawarean goth rappers, Young Torture Killers, an insane clown posse knockoff, Nate knows he's found his subjects. He soon drags his friends with benefits Bernadette to rural Delaware to shoot the group playing in their parents' basement. To immerse himself in the group's culture and add an extra layer of realism to his work, Nate befriends the rappers and makes return trips to get to know them. But as his relationship with the group develops, he becomes increasingly aware that while you can take the boy out of the art world, you can't take the art world out of the boy.
You know the album from that rap group? Do you know what it's called?
Which one?
The Young Torture Killers.
Oh no.
It's called "I'll Cut Your Dick Off."
Oh yeah, they're putting that out on vinyl. That's the best part. Yeah. So that is the front of the slip. Here's the back to show "I'll Cut Your Dick Off." This is hilarious. The big thing for me that I love about this is it's 73 minutes long.
Yeah, right.
Oh, Zach, I love Revenge. Zach brought up Revenge from 2017. Fits that criteria as well. Shot by a woman, very feminist type of movie. Revenge is incredible.
Yeah.
So this one is getting, it's a region-free Blu-ray, deleted and extended scenes, behind the scenes of Hellaware, commentary with a few people on it, a trailer, music video for I'll Cut Your Dick Off, and then a 24-page booklet with a foreword by Abel Ferrara, essays by Nick Pinkerton, Michael Chaikin, Sean Price Williams, and Michael M. Bilandic.
Damn, that's impressive, actually.
Yeah. For a title that has "I'll Cut Your Dick Off" on the back of it.
What is Abel Ferrara's connection to this? That's crazy.
I have no idea.
Huh.
Next up, though, The Long Walk from Yellow Veil Pictures. This is a 2019 film. An elderly man who has the power to time travel thanks to a mysterious companion whose death he witnessed decides to trespass into his own past and set in motion a plan to prevent his mother's suffering and appease his soul. This is the front of the slip, and here is the back. Well, anything about this one intrigue you?
Well, so I got to see Knocking from this company, and it was great. Like, I mean, it was simple. Well, maybe not great. It was good. It was a good, solid, like 3 out of 5 or three. Like, it was
Yeah.
good. And they seem to have a beautiful art designer for like their cover work. I don't know who they work with, but they're very like elegant and sort of like artistic with their cover art. So what we were just talking about Yellow Veil. What title was that from? Where they're putting out a title?
Lux Eterna from Gaspar Noé.
Oh, of course, yeah, yeah.
John in the comments says, this sounds like the most interesting partner release this month. With Lux Eterna on the horizon, it looks like Yellow Veil's emerging as my favorite partner.
Yeah, John, I agree. I don't know about, I don't know favorite, but just certainly like I want to see the things they put out, and that's like I trust them a lot.
I agree there. And then on top of that, I always have loved time travel movies.
Yeah.
So that alone is as soon as I read that, I'm in immediately. The Long Walk. Next up, from Canny, releasing Ode to Nothing from 2018. Dwayne Ruedas Baltazar's Ode to Nothing is a powerful meditation on our universal longing for connection in increasingly precarious, uncertain, and isolated times. The ineluctability and omnipresence of death is given form here in an uncanny cohabitation with destitute itself, and what amounts to one of the most captivating art horror hybrids to emerge from the Philippines in recent years. A Best Picture, Best Director, and Best Screenplay award given at Quezon City's influential Q Cinema Festival highlighting new Filipino cinema, Ode to Nothing unfolds in a languid and hypnotic manner, every careful shot oozing with the palpable texture of rot, humidity, and crushing loneliness.
Sounds like a light watch.
And looking at the art here, it's going to be a very vibrant setting too.
Cain and Abel from them, was that Philippines as well?
I think so.
Yeah, Manila. Okay. So Being Natural though was not, right? Being Natural
Correct.
is a
I feel like that was Thai or something like that.
Japan. So I didn't know either. I was just looking on this. So they have Japan and then 2 from the Philippines. I mean, 3 cheers for Connie. I love these guys so far. Like this is the thing. I think we kind of talked about this before, but the fact that you could go to Vinegar Syndrome and buy these kind of movies feels like cheating somehow.
Yep.
I love it.
I will say, when I first read this sounded to me, and this is going to be a weird word to use, and I know that, and I apologize in advance, but this sounds to me like a palate cleanser. And the way I say that is because for me, and I talked about this with a couple people this week, oddly. I feel like there are certain movies that if you are in the wrong mood when you watch them, you will hate the movie.
Okay.
And there are certain things that if you are stuck watching, I won't just use like a broad term like happy films, but things that are, say like your favorite genre for like 10 films in a row. It really works to do that and then dive into something like this that is going to make you sink into your emotions.
Okay.
And then really appreciate the story they're trying to tell.
Yeah. Okay. I think so one of the things I do, like other than genre movies, I'm trying to go back and like watch a lot of these art house films that I missed or whatever. So like every year I try to pick like one big director, and the one I'm doing this year is Wong Kar-wai, and like last year was Fellini, and so those are like I kind of call these like the challengers, right? And then
Right.
For me, the palate cleanser is like Action USA or like something like silly that I can just like turn my mind off to. But even though I think we're using different vocabulary, like the sentiment, like I'm right there with you. Like I have to have both. I can't watch like Billy Banks movies like back to back to back. Like I need to mix it up.
And that's why I look at it, I guess, more as a mood cleanser. I can't watch, victorious, rocky sports films for 4 days straight and then feel like, oh, we're all victorious and everything's great. Because then after that, I want to dive into something like this and just really sink to the floor with this depressive state and really just languish in that. But then after that, sure, I can watch, a romantic comedy from 2005 and love it. And that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. I like it.
Justin says it looks like a foreign bleak Swiss Army man.
Okay.
That's awesome. And then also says, this is my most anticipated this month. The trailer wowed me. I also wanted to point out, John says, I also randomly watched a 2022 film from Yellow Veil on Shudder called Hellbender. Shudder's been advertising the hell out of this film. Micro-budget folk horror, again, we just talked about that. That comes from the same guys who did The Deeper You Dig, which is a family. It is a husband and wife and daughter, I believe, that all work together. And he says he'd recommend. Some people seem to hate Hellbender so far, but it's just very divisive. I would certainly look into Hellbender, and that we're probably going to get a disc release of that eventually from Yellow Veil.
Great.
Next up, from Canadian International Pictures, we are getting The Other French New Wave Volume 1. And what's interesting here is when they put out their copy, they put a little I might say teaser. I think it was an accident, but we'll talk about that in just a second. This is 3 trailblazing classics from the dawn of Quebec's cinematic revolution. Here is the front of the slip, which I adore the slip. I think this is a really well-designed slip.
Yeah.
And then this is the back with the 3 titles that we're getting here. So we have The Cat in the Bag. On the cusp of adulthood, Claude loses faith in society and commits to a state of revolt, which strains his relationship with Barbara and leads him on a path to isolation. Featuring an original score by jazz legend John Coltrane. I don't know how to say this name. Gilles Grouil's experiment in spontaneous cinema is a timeless exploration of youthful disillusionment that brought new audacity to Quebec cinema. And then the second feature, The Merry World of Leopold Z. On Christmas Eve, snowplow driver Leo races to clear the streets of Montreal and complete his holiday shopping in time for midnight mass. The feature directorial debut of celebrated filmmaker Giles Carl, The Merry World of Leopold Z is an offbeat holiday treat that builds to a disarmingly resonant conclusion. And then the third and final feature, Yol 871. During a weekend visit to Montreal, a Parisian engineer has a romantic fling, befriends a young girl, and rethinks his war-fractured past while navigating an unfamiliar new world. An early breakthrough for prolific auteur Jacques Goudbout, Yule 871 is an artfully directed, deceptively breezy convergence of cultures. So there is all kinds of like short films and featurettes and all kinds of extras here. But the cool thing at the bottom, they accidentally included English SDH subtitles for all 9 films. So I'm willing to bet we are going to get 3 of these releases. This is labeled as French New Wave Volume 1. We are likely getting a Volume 2 and 3.
Those sneaky bastards. I'm going to be totally honest. I don't have a strong passion for the Canadian New Wave. I'll give these films a shot, though. I'll be interested to see it. Beautiful cover design.
It is. And the only reason that I am kind of very interested in it is because I really respect Justin Decloux, who does Gold Ninja Video, and he has been completely hyping up everything because he is a Canadian native and completely just in love with what they are releasing through these labels right now. Okay. So coming from Canada, he is all about this.
Okay, all right.
Justin, you might be right. He says, I think they're talking about the shorts that are included. Yeah, those sneaky bastards. That could be true. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then the 3 main. Yeah, you might be right. Damn it, Justin. John says, it's fascinating that we can purchase this from the same website I bought Dracula Sucks from last month. What a great way to juxtapose that. Next up, we are getting Pathogen from AGFA. Here is the back of that slip. And conceived when filmmaker Emily Hoggins was 12 years old and released when she was only 15. 15. Pathogen is one of the most accomplished horror movies ever made by a person before they could legally drive a car. A mysterious technology has transformed the residents of Austin, Texas into flesh-craving zombies. Armed with a knife, an axe, and many pairs of flip-flops, middle schooler Danny and her Pee-wee zombie squad take to the streets to battle undead parents, teens, and even a toddler. With an impressive devotion to editing and storytelling, Pathogen delivers eyeball gouging, decapitations, and knife fights, along with an endearing perspective that could only originate from a teenager. Agfa and Bleeding Skull are overjoyed to give Pathogen its first ever wide release, complete with Zombie Girl the Movie, a feature-length documentary about the making of the movie.
I love Agfa so much. I just spoke to them yesterday, so the episode will come out in like a month.
Nice.
They're doing 17 total titles this year.
Wow.
And next year they're gonna be like I don't know, they're a little bit vague, but like they're ramping up in a big way. Like they're gonna start putting out a lot of movies.
Interesting.
And I don't know, they're the nicest, most like down to earth people. They're totally geeks, like in the most endearing, like loving way. I mean that. And like I just want to support these guys. I don't know. I'm a big fan of Agfa.
They are great, important people. I will say I have not loved most of their output. Go ahead.
Have you seen Bat Pussy?
I have not finished it.
Oh man, that movie! I was like, that's one of my favorite movies now. I like was laughing so hard at that movie. I have weird taste though, so I'm not gonna defend it. It's a crazy movie, but
I love a lot of what they've done. Scary Movie's really good. Captain Alex obviously is a classic for a reason. There are the horror trailer show that they did was great. The scare films that they did are just amazing to dive back into time through that. There's a lot of really great stuff, and the important thing is that they are an archive first and foremost. Yeah. Literally, it's in their name. And I will throw out again for those that don't know, Agfa is literally a non-profit. If you go on to Amazon right now and you go on Amazon Smile, you can set them as the organization that makes money when you shop on Amazon. I don't even I try not to shop on Amazon, but when I do, 4% of what I get goes to Agfa because I'm trying to support them because they deserve it.
Awesome. Sword in the Claw is one I would recommend anybody watch too.
Sword in the Claw is a decent one. It's fun.
Decent.
Next up, in one of the most intriguing looking slips that I've seen in quite some time on here, this is coming from Circle Collective, Project Space 13 from 2021. An emerging performance artist finally gets a coveted show at a Manhattan gallery, but right as he begins his durational, provocative piece, the entire city shuts down for COVID-19. Unswayed, he locks himself in a white cube space to continue his performance for an audience of none. Honestly, I don't know that I am eager to watch films with COVID-19 as a plot point in it yet. We are still very much in the throes of it, and I'm not super stoked to get that as a plot device yet. But Circle Collective genuinely has done really good work so far, I gotta be honest. And this has a conversation with Theodore. There's a handful of people. Trailer, opening weekend Q&As from Roxy Cinema with the cast and crew. And then this is the front of the slip, and this is the back.
There's a tie to Utopia. I don't know what it is. They're all kind of part of the similar group or something.
It all feels very New York art.
Yeah.
And not just because of this title, but legitimately a lot of the stuff they put out, like Utopia. Yes, Donnie's Bar Mitzvah. Mm-hmm. The documentary they did of the New York artist. There's all kinds of stuff that Utopia has done. Yes, very, very similar.
Oh, sorry. Utopia is very much New York. Yes. Martha, it's one of my favorite movies last year. So the woman who follows, Martha draws a picture.
Yep.
Or takes a picture or something like that. The one where she follows graffiti arts around and stuff. It's amazing. But these guys put out Assholes, it stars the same woman that then went on to do that Scary of 61st. She's an intense actress.
Yep. And did well in Scary of 61st.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a tough role.
But this might be the one that I am most excited about for this month. I am stoked to say that Enjoy the Ride Records is putting out Scream Queen. Scream Queen, My Nightmare on Elm Street sets the record straight about the controversial sequel to A Nightmare on Elm Street, which ended Mark Patton's acting career just as it was about to begin. Scream Queen follows Patton as he travels to horror conventions across the U.S. Each new city unwraps a chapter from his life that is met with equal parts joyful and bittersweet detail as he attempts to make peace with his past and embrace his legacy as cinema's first male Scream Queen. Scream Queen also finds Patton confronting Freddy's Revenge cast and crew for the first time ever, including co-stars Robert Russler, Kim Myers, and Clu Gallagher, as well as Freddy himself, Robert Englund. This is a pretty big documentary that got released in 2019, but had not gotten a Blu-ray release until now. And I am very, very excited that this is going to be finally in the hands of a lot more people.
Have you? Where did you see it?
I've got the DVD release of it, first of all.
Okay.
Definitely giving that away now. But this, I think it was also streaming maybe on Shudder momentarily.
Okay, that's cool.
Somewhere.
Yeah, I can't figure out ETR. They're all over the place, but the movies have all been fun.
Yep, and then very bright pink slipcover on this one, and then all kinds of pretty cool extras here. We have Mark Patton, Roman Chimianti, and Tyler Jensen audio commentary, an alt opening for it called The Psychic, a look at horror genre studies with Dr. Andrew Scahill called The Monster is Queer, a tribute to Wes Craven by Mark Patton, and then an extended fireside chat with the cast of Freddy's Revenge, backstage with Scream Queen, femininity in the horror film, a discussion, and then a booklet is also included with an essay by BJ Colangelo, who is, I believe BJ is from another podcast. She's done all kinds of stuff. Very big in the queer horror scene.
Cool.
And seems like, Anthony's saying Scream Queen's a great documentary. Good companion piece to watch with The Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2. Looking forward to picking up it. And that's the best thing. I think we watched, I want to say my wife and we watched the first 5 Nightmare on Elm Streets recently, something like that. And when we watched Part 2, we had a discussion afterwards. I was like, so what do you think? And just went into some of it and how it felt so different from the first one. I said, well, before we watch Part 3, you got to watch this documentary.
Nice.
So that's when we watched it for the first time.
Cool.
Okay. Culture Shock releasing, which is getting a whole lot of press. They are putting out Slashdance on Blu-ray, which is a film that they put out on DVD previously and sold quite well. This is from 1989, and this is essentially one of the horror workout video movie things that was a thing for a while, thanks to Linnea Quigley, I assume. Beautiful dancers are being brutally murdered at the Van Slyke Theater. Is it the weird brothers who run the theater, the perverted stage manager, a vengeful ghost, bombshell detective Tory Raines must go undercover as a dancer to find the killer or become his next victim? This is going to be region-free with a bonus feature film called Hollywood's New Blood, a full-length commentary with the director, a full-length commentary by Hack the Movies podcast, interview with actor J. Buzz von Ornsteiner, interview with the producer Andrew Meisner, and then 3-minute flash dance by Future Schlock of Everything is Terrible. And yeah, same art as they had on their DVD release. And then what's cool is because they also have Hollywood's New Blood, the other side of the slip is highlighting that double feature.
Oh, nice. This is I haven't seen this movie before, but aren't these the ones that did Hooker with a Hacksaw? I think that
Yes.
And Cannibal Hookers.
Yep. Culture Shock releasing also just put out an American Scream.
Yeah.
And then they did the big one that everybody's loving so far is Girlfriend from Hell.
That's right. Yeah, that was them. Yeah, they're fun. They're one I want to follow.
Yeah, and they are one of the newest partner labels. They came out with that Canadian International Pictures. They both were added recently.
That's right.
Up next, because we are still not done. From Altered Innocence, we are getting Stop Zemlya from 2021. Hanging out with friends, smoking too much, spinning bottles and kissing, making mistakes, playing, refusing to accept, dreaming with open eyes. Life as a teenager can be overwhelmingly beautiful and difficult at the same time. Introverted high school girl Masha sees herself as an outsider unless she's hanging out with her two best friends, Yana and Senia, who share her nonconformist status. While trying to navigate through her last year of school, Masha falls in love in a way that forces her out of her comfort zone. In her debut, the Ukrainian director, Katerina Gornastai, composes a deeply emotional and multi-layered portrait of a generation whilst seamlessly flowing between the fictional and the documental. So first off, kind of hard to just let that go without recognizing that Ukraine is literally in the middle of being attacked right now. So this might be a good time to beef up on at least learning and supporting some part of Ukrainian art. This is the back of the slip. It says, how does your body feel when you're in love? Really bad, awful, but still you need this feeling? Yeah. Altered Innocence is all about coming of age stories, queer stories, and really diving into some art house things that are just really well made.
They have my favorite cover of all the Vinegar Syndrome partner labels. Do you know which one I'm going to be talking about?
Wild Boys?
No, it's Knife and Heart. Do you remember that one?
Yeah.
When I saw that, I was like, man, that is brilliant.
It is such a we'll say blunt piece of art to include. For those that don't remember, it's the sex toy with the knife in it.
Yeah.
What about this? Anything you're interested in there?
I have been collecting Altered Innocence. They're one of the labels I'm going to go through soon. I don't think I've seen maybe a few of their movies. Death of Nintendo I saw. So Long Billy, Sound and Fury. So I've seen 3 or 4, but and then they're putting out. Oh, they're ones that put out that new Eloy de Iglesia film, which
correct, Pals.
Which Severin put out the rest of it, or a lot of his other stuff, right?
Yes.
So yeah, I think this label's cool. Like I'm intrigued by them. I like that coming of age films and queer representation is out there. So I wanna support these guys for now.
For sure. I think this might be the last one. I don't want to speak too ahead of myself, but we are getting from Music Box Selects Sybil from 2019, and I've heard nothing but great things about this. A sly, sultry character study from filmmaker Justine Triet. Sybil follows a psychotherapist who decides to quit her practice and return to writing instead. As Sybil starts dropping patients, she begins to struggle with excess time and a lack of inspiration until she gets a call from Margot, a young actress wrapped up in a dramatic affair with her co-star Igor, who happens to be married to the film's director. Becoming further enmeshed in Margot's life, Sybil starts to blur past and present, fiction with reality, and the personal with the professional as she begins to use Margot's life as source material for her novel. This one has a feature audio commentary by Alexandra Heller-Nicholas, like I brought up earlier, interviews with the director and actors, photo gallery, not a whole lot else, but this is the front and this is the back of the slip. Pretty classy looking slip here.
Yeah, no, it's definitely an art house movie. Was this before or after Blue is the Warmest Color? Sorry, I was trying to find that out because that's the actress from Blue is the Warmest Color.
I believe it's after.
This is after? Okay.
I believe so.
So this is what she's doing now.
Because this is 2019.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it must be after. Yeah, you're right. It's cool. Yeah, it looks good. I mean, it looks like an art house film.
Yeah.
It could easily be Criterion type or whatever. So
absolutely.
Yeah. Big bad.
Last couple things to cover on Vinegar Syndrome. There was new merch available, and some of these have sold out now. For Scream Queen, they have the soundtrack on vinyl and on cassette. And if you wanted Hellaware, they have this gorgeous vinyl cover, Young Torture Killers, I'll Cut Your Dick Off. And then Vinegar Syndrome is doing a green St. Patrick's Day logo tee. But now, what do you feel about what Ragnar said here? I personally think that there are way too many partner labels.
Okay. I'm like split-minded on this. There's the collector side of me that was enjoying supporting all the partner labels that's frustrated because I can't keep up. Then there's the side of me that like has spoken to Craig and Dennis over at Deaf Crocodile, and like they're good dudes, and like I'm happy that they get to plug into a machine and like sell their stuff. So I don't know. Like I feel like as the person buying it, it's like frustrating. It's too much. But if I was starting a label right now, I would consider it, even though I've heard they take a big cut. Like it's nice to be able to sell your products, right? So I don't know if there's going to be a new like competitor to MVD in the marketplace. It feels like maybe they're doing a good job with it so far. What do you think?
I very much in the same frame of mind, but I will also add what I believe we talked about when you did the video with me a few weeks ago. The fact that they have so many partner labels means that they literally have something that they can appeal to everyone for.
Yeah.
And the fact that you can go to the website, like we just said, and buy Dracula Sucks, followed by an art house Ukrainian film, it feels like magic, first of all.
Yeah.
But second of all, it means that no matter what type of person you are, even if you spend 10 minutes on the Vinegar Syndrome website, you can find a film that you go, you know what, I kind of want to really see this.
Yeah.
And yes, there is a lot of partner labels. There's a lot to keep track of. But at the same time, it's not made for you to collect every single thing from every partner label. It is made for art to be shared, for movie to be out there and discover. And I think that it is, again, something that I've said on this channel way too many times. Every single movie has been somebody's favorite movie, and no matter what, it deserves to be handled with the most utmost respect.
Yeah. And we'll see if we agree in May when they do their halfway to Black Friday sale and they announce 5 new partner labels or whatever.
Right. Can't really argue with that.
Yeah.
Anything else about Vinegar Syndrome and partner labels? I think that's the last thing. Let me make sure before I...
Oh, no, that covers them all. Yeah, that covers them all.
It's a very big month, and that is seemingly the new norm, first of all, that we're going to have... literally this month, there's 4 Vinegar Syndrome releases, or maybe 4 Vinegar Syndrome releases plus 11 partner label releases.
Yeah.
15 in 1 month is a lot, and a lot of these are double features, so it's actually like 20 films.
Yeah, it's the Kino model, right? But because they're coming from so many different sources, they're getting that like really high touch, high quality.
And even Kino, who also has a lot of partner labels, still doesn't have as many as Vinegar Syndrome.
Yeah. It's true. I don't know. I love them though. Like I want them to be very successful, and they seem to be big fans of movies, and they seem to be doing it the right way. So I'll keep supporting them. I think we're about to talk about them, but I'm having to make choices. Like one of the companies that I love a lot, but I've stopped buying. I'm very selective with is Severin, because their box sets are amazing. They're like when they do that 2 or 3 disc special limited like cases, they're amazing.
Yep.
And even their standard releases are fine, but like I'm just starting to have to make choices now. Like I can't do Vinegar and Arrow and Severin and Massacre and like and you know like there's just you start to make choices now.
I agree. And speaking of Severin, that does mean that it's time. Coming on what just happened? I had to do that every single week. I do it at least once. Coming on April 26th from Severin, Mardi Gras Massacre from 1978. Probably can't show that on YouTube, so maybe I should change that. Coming from Severin, April 26th. This was previously released by Code Red. For those that have never seen it, this is it's I don't know. Have you seen Mardi Gras Massacre, first of all?
Yes, I have.
What do you think?
Where was it an Italian movie? Where was it originally?
I believe so, yeah.
It is, right? I think it's like okay, it's a wild movie. I think it's one that I'm trying to like. I am so deep into these kind of films; it's hard to be like objective about it. Like,
Right.
I think it's a lot of fun, and I think it's one that like people, probably the people that are watching, like the people that listen to this, are like also kind of deep in this world, would love. Like I think it's one of those kind of must-see type of films from this world.
If you've never seen it, it definitely is. And then, not to mention, this is going to be the best release that this film will ever get, probably. So, with only 5 films, New Orleans-based writer, producer, director Jack Weiss became one of the most enigmatic figures in 70s exploitation. And for his final trashterpiece, Weiss delivered a filth-fueled, disco-drenched, and gore-soaked epic of butchered hookers, hard-boiled homicide cops, and a prissy psycho with an Aztec sacrifice fetish that remains a once-in-a-lifetime sleaze experience. Kurt Dawson, Ronald Tannett, and February 75 Playboy playmate Laura Mish star in the shocking yet hysterical fever dream of regional filmmaking, with a soundtrack by Dennis Coffey and Mike Theodore, and still banned in the UK as one of the original DPP 39 video nasties, now with a 2K master compiled from the best post-Katrina elements and a revealing new interview with Jack Weiss himself.
Yeah, that sums it up.
Gotta love the word trashterpiece there, because it definitely is. This is one that is, first off, I don't think it's quite as gory as they make it sound there. It's pretty, I mean, it's a little blood heavy, I guess, but it's not like gory in the way that you would think, especially for a film from, what year is it, 78. And then this has I'm Not Into Hollywood, interview with the director, the Mardi Gras Killer, interview with actor William Mezzo, and the First Victim, interview with actress Laura Mish, which is kind of cool that Playboy Playmate came on to do that. It's 96 minutes, region free. It's a good set.
Yeah.
I honestly think if you have the code red, you probably don't need this release. But I will say that pretty much anything is going to be better than a code red. So if you don't have it, this is obviously the one to go for.
Right. Yeah, I feel like this is one of those releases that like has a fan base.
Oh, it certainly does.
And it's gonna it'll sell well for Severin, which I'm happy for them for that.
Yeah. And the Code Red release came out years ago. It is quite an old release. So yeah, this is not a shock at all. But that's not the only thing they're releasing. Speaking of Jack Weiss, coming on April 26th from Severin Films, they're releasing The Big Sleazy, a Jack Weiss double feature with Crypt of Dark Secrets, and Death Brings Roses. Perhaps the most bizarre film by New Orleans writer, producer, director Jack Weiss is 71 minutes of supernatural sleaze, featuring voodoo vengeance, a possessed swamp stripper, and multiple feats of knuckle-headed folk horror, newly mastered from the original negative. Thought lost for more than 30 years, Death Brings Roses is the Big Easy Auteur's epic of pimps, hookers, mob bosses, double crosses, a stupefying parade of performances by non-professional locals, and Henry Youngman, a real-life Hollywood tough guy, Scott Brady, Broderick Crawford, and Hermione Gingold star in this French Quarter crime saga that walks a fine line between utter hilarity and bubbling sleaze, scanned in 2K from the personal 35mm print of the director.
Yep.
I mean, the cover tells you everything you need to know about these two.
Exactly.
Not going to spend a ton of time on those. But one of the more intriguing titles this month, Severin is putting out Hey, Stop Stabbing Me from 2003. Long before they became big-time Hollywood players with Dorm Days, Golan the Insatiable, and Sonic the Hedgehog, 20-year-old producer, co-writer, director Josh Miller and producer, co-writer, star Pat Casey spent the summer of 2000 with $500, a mini DV cam, and a group of friends in Bloomington, Minnesota, creating what remains the most insanely accomplished and long out-of-print comedy horror hit of the shot-on-video era. It's a deranged suburban saga of hole diggers, serial killers, nympho girlfriends, clothes-stealing monsters, and lawnmower murders that Film Threat calls goofy and funny, with charm to spare, filled with ideas both creative and bizarre. And this is an Intervision title, not Severin. Proud to present this justifiable cult favorite, now lovingly remastered in HD, with all new reunion featurettes, audio commentaries, short films, and much more. And there is all kinds of stuff, including Sledgehammers at Dawn, a bonus feature-length film, which is 83 minutes, and then other short films as well. There's all kinds of stuff on this release.
This is like the best thing about Severin, right? They do this as well, if not better than anybody. Like their supplement game is incredible. I don't know how they do it with a small team. Because I think they actually shoot and edit a lot of their own stuff. I don't think they farm it out.
They absolutely do. That is evident because a lot of the Dawn of the Dead special features for the UK release from Second Sight Severin was in charge of those special features.
Yeah. So there you go. Yeah, it's very impressive what they're able to do. So I don't know if they have like a separate arm that kind of does the supplements or whatever, but like you look at this and you're like, well, I mean, I don't know about the movie maybe, but like, I mean, there's so much. This is like a very deep dive into this director.
Yep.
Right?
There's a page of special features.
Yeah.
And literally, these are the voices behind Sonic and Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Right.
And for those that didn't see it, the two gentlemen that are referenced at the beginning here, they also did a YouTube episode of the Severin Cellar where they go on and talk about things that are in the Severin library and sort of riff on the Criterion Closet method.
Nice. I mean, Peter Jackson started in horror, right? So maybe there's something to be said for this.
All kinds of them did. I mean, James Cameron, look at what he's done.
Yeah, right. Was it Piranha 2, right?
Yep, The Spawning.
Yeah, that's right.
Severin, not one to let a release go by without a whole bunch of trinkets. For Mardi Gras Massacre, they are also releasing a bead set for Mardi Gras and a green shot glass. They're also putting out an American Splatter Movies enamel pin. But the cooler thing is that Mardi Gras Massacre is getting one of their now, like, genuinely famous novelizations. This is the third one they've done. And it is the same guy that's done all three of them. But then there's also a comic book, and they released some pictures from the comic book on their Facebook, and it is risque. It looks pretty good. So this is the bundle just for Mardi Gras Massacre for everything, $64, limited to 500. If you want just the 3 releases, it's $65. And then if you want everything that they're releasing in April, it is $104. Which, I'm
not a big trinket guy, so I don't ever go for these. I don't have any place to put a lot of that stuff, but
I'm certainly running out of places to put those things. It is crazy that we're still not done. So I was talking about Violent City because this is being released in the UK, and this is also coming out from Kino on May 17th. This is with Charles Bronson, and gets a brand new 2K restoration of Violent City in English and Italian with optional subs. New audio commentary by film historian Paul Talbot, the one and only Bronson film fan that is as deep and knowledgeable as he is. The author of Bronson's Loose books. Shooting Violent City interview with the co-writer and director Sergio Solima. Theatrical trailers for Violent City and The Family. And a TV spot for The Family. And let's see here. 4K restoration of Violent City in Italian with optional English subtitles is on disc 2. HD Master of the Family, a 2K scan of 35mm print in English with the optional subtitles. So there's a lot on this. This is actually a decent size release from Kino.
Jill Ireland, that name sounds so familiar. She's in a lot of Bronson movies, right?
She's in a lot of stuff around that time, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
One of their patented slipcovers now is making a sweet appearance here because it's Bronson, so they had to put one on there. And then a kind of exciting title, Gold Ninja Video is putting out Skip Tracer from 1977. This is about a repo man who skips town after his life is threatened, and this is available to pre-order now. And if you were one of their Indiegogo subscribers, that is included already in your package. But again, just like with all the Gold Ninja Video releases, Justin Decloux is all over this thing. And it also has a bonus film called Passion, Zale Dalen's unreleased movie called Passion. Gold Ninja Video does great work. Absolutely worth every penny. Yeah,
I've ordered a few of their things since we spoke to kind of support him, but I haven't seen them yet. I'm very happy to support that guy. He sounds awesome.
The cover art they put out for this after is much better than this poster. This is not the cover art being used, and it looks like a really good package. Cool. Talked about that. You are here. And then Blue Underground, we got some release details. Uncle Sam from 1996 coming on 4K with a lenticular cover of the famous, this picture and then the more zombified picture. It's 4th of July weekend, and the recently discovered corpse of Sergeant Sam Harper, killed by friendly fire during the first Gulf War, is returned to his all-American hometown. But when Sam rises from the dead to punish the unpatriotic, only his young nephew and a bitter Korean War veteran, played by Isaac Hayes himself, can stop his red-blooded rampage. Draft dodgers, tax cheats, crooked politicians, and flag burners beware. Uncle Sam wants you dead. This was directed by William Lustig, so of course this is getting a 4K release. From the 35 millimeter camera negative, this is going to look great, of course. It's Blue Underground. It's going to be amazing. It gets an audio commentary, an archival one, obviously, with Bill Lustig and Larry Cohen and the producer. And then there is another commentary with Bill Lustig and star Isaac Hayes. And then fire stunts with audio commentary by stunt coordinator Spiro Rosados, deleted scene, gag reel. And this is only a 4K disc. There is no Blu-ray coming in this package.
Have you seen this movie?
I have. I've got the Blu-ray right behind me. It's pretty good. It's I won't say, well, it's pretty peak era Lustig.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a good way to say it. I like the little twist, but that commentary with Larry Cohen, I love every time Larry Cohen talks. I think that man is he's so smart, and I think this is a great commentary.
He is brilliant, and his hands are on so many different things that you don't even realize until you actually dig in, because he wrote so many things, he directed so many things.
Yeah.
He's just everywhere.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess I forgot that we weren't done with Vinegar Syndrome. Let's talk about the very last thing of this week, which, first of all, thanks everybody that's hung around, because this has been literally the biggest week of announcements that I can remember in the last multiple years. Just primarily because everybody's announcements lined up at once. We got announcements from pretty much every major boutique except for 88 Films and Eureka and Criterion, but pretty much everybody else. So Vinegar Syndrome, we have dates in hand for their flash pre-order for their halfway to Black Friday mega sale, which will be in May. The flash pre-order will be March 25th through 27th, just a few short weeks away. And some details that they go into here. Every sale, we try our best to best the one before, and this time will be no exception, with 5 fantastic Vinegar Syndrome releases. Among them, 3 4Ks, 3 never on Blu-ray horror films, one of which will also be a 4K. The world 4K premiere of a crazy action classic, restored in both of its versions, and of course, the authorized worldwide 4K and Blu-ray debut of the notorious Thriller, A Cruel Picture. And on Thriller, extras are stacking up, including revealing interviews with Christina Lindberg, along with numerous other cast and crew who have never publicly discussed their work on film. On top of that, we have plentiful trailers, stills, outtakes, and all of the same stuff that they always do. But the really interesting paragraph here that a lot of people have been asking me about, so I want to spend a minute on this, because this is kind of a very public swipe at Synapse here. And yes, we are aware of the inferior Blu-ray utilizing a nearly 20-year-old master that is being sold, and we are working to resolve that situation. But if you, as a connoisseur of exploitation cinema, wish to see Thriller looking the best it ever has and in the most comprehensive edition that ever will be, and you believe that filmmakers ought to be respected and paid for their work, we highly encourage you to wait a few more weeks to place an order for the Vinegar Syndrome edition. It'll be worth it.
Damn.
So first off, they are literally saying that Synapse is selling a bootleg.
Yep.
This is basically a public cease and desist.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good way to look at it.
The fact that they said that we are working, what was the exact verbiage here? We are aware of it and working to resolve that situation, which means Synapse does not have permission to release Thriller from anybody that holds the rights. And from what I have heard, that they had their previous master that they had on DVD, and they were under the impression that they had the right to sell it on Blu-ray and just waited. And so they took that DVD scan and put it on a Blu-ray, and that's it.
Got to check the rights on this stuff. I mean, you can You can say what you want, but you've got to check. That was the thing I've learned through all these conversations. You have to know, because as soon as you start making money off of somebody's property, it bubbles up to the surface real fast.
Right. And with something like this, especially with a title that so many people know and are fond of, and it's kind of a big deal title.
Yeah.
That's this is like a fuck around and find out type of title.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. What was the one last year? Was it Django, right?
The infamous Django release. Yeah, that was a Blue Underground and Arrow fiasco that caused all of that. I am kind of glad that one got delayed because we were able to eventually get the 4K at the same time.
Sure.
And legitimately one of the best looking 4Ks ever.
I mean, that movie's awesome anyways, but that transfer is just out of this world.
So the big thing, other than Thriller, that we hit on pretty well there, the Flash pre-order is already happening this month, and a lot of people, they're like just now getting into some of their Black Friday titles, and it's already almost time for that halfway to Black Friday Flash pre-order. Things move fast around here.
Yeah.
I hope everybody is ready. All right. Next thing we always do is talk about what's coming out next week.
Okay.
Let me share that screen. And last week, or I guess this week, was really slow, but next week really picks it up again. So we got the best movie of last year, says 4 people on Blu-ray.com. The Matrix Resurrections in 4K is coming out. Speaking of Synapse, Phenomena in 4K is coming out. Good. And the Arrow video version of that one is already shipping. Their release of Thriller supposedly is coming out next week. The Death Game from Grindhouse releasing, I believe, will be shipping here shortly.
Oh yeah, that's right. They have 2 titles coming out, right? Or is it just that one?
Just this one, and then they did the Rudy Ray Moore book.
Yeah, the book. That's what it was. Yeah.
And we are getting Monster from Green Hell. Wanted to hit this home a little bit. This is coming from the Film Detective. Not a lot of people talk about them, and I hear the Monster from Green Hell is really good. I just ordered that one as part of the Best Buy sale that is, I believe, still going on. It might be done now, but got that one pretty cheap. Should be here in the next week.
Nice.
Adoption from Criterion is getting its release. And then Hester Street from Cohen Media, a sub-label of Kino, is coming out. The Legend of La Llorona, I believe this is the other YouTuber Master Chaos's movie. I would give everybody a hearty, please go check that out. Support other people in the hobby. And then Kino's release of The Apartment is also releasing. I don't believe the 4K is coming next week. It might be. From Epic Pictures, which I love and I always try to talk about because nobody else does, The Swerve is coming out. They are one of the labels that also puts out the Dread pictures. They're up to, like almost 40 numbered releases that are great. And like they're the ones that put out Terrifier a few years ago.
Okay.
The modern horror with Art the Clown.
Yeah.
And that is, I think, all of it, unless you're a real big Brooklyn Nine-Nine fan. At this point, we usually talk about pickups. Do you have anything you want to share?
Yeah, sure. So we had, I don't have them with me. We had to kind of get out of our house quickly because we uncovered some mold in the house.
Oh, that stinks.
So we're in a temporary spot. Anyways. I don't have them with me. I got the February sale for Vinegar Syndrome in with the partner labels, so I'm starting to go through those, and that's been fun. And then this has been a relatively slow couple of weeks for me for pickups. I got those in. I'm expecting to spend a lot of money between March and April, and so I'm kind of saving up a little bit. There was one more thing I know I got in. So speaking of things that take forever to come in or whatever, Raro Video. So I'm still one of the 5 people that buys from their website despite all their problems. Right. And I basically just kind of buy and just I'm okay, it's gonna come when it comes in. So I got 4 movies that I ordered in November that were more on the like experimental side of Italian cinema. A lot of shorts, a lot of people playing with like almost like Stan Brakhage style of like kind of very experimental shorts. And so I got 4 titles there from them. And I think that covers it from the last like 2 or 3 weeks for me.
Raro is wild, and I will remind everyone, if you are not into them yet, the best time is if you just get into 1 or 2 titles during a Kino sale. Kino also distributes for them,
Yeah.
so it's a really good time. You can find them for like $9-10, and just throw that in there. Check it out.
They've got the way that I always describe them is like they're the directors you know, and then the films you don't know from those people.
Exactly.
Like they're deep into like genres, Italian genre films.
Yeah.
It's not like a pickup, but every year I get a $10 coupon from Criterion because I was a charter subscriber for the channel, and so I just got it. And like historically, that means that next Tuesday is going to be the flash sale.
Nice.
So I'm like 95% confident that it's going to come next Tuesday.
And that's usually a 24-hour sale through the Criterion website, and 50% off everything, as always. Yeah. That is the best time to buy from them by far. Yeah. I set aside a few things that I thought would be more up your alley. I got in the newest wave of imprint. So I got the February titles. We got the return of Pink Panther. This is from 1975. And lots of good stuff on here. Let's see.
Yeah.
Decent release. And then I'm stoked on this one, The Out of Towners with Jack Lemmon.
Very cool, yeah.
This one's from 1970. The sequel that everybody seemingly hates, but I've never seen, The Bad News Bears in Breaking Training.
It's not great, but yeah, whatever.
The exciting ones, though, is the 2 kind of box sets that they put out for this month. We got Jerry Lewis at Columbia, and this is in an actual hard box and everything in the same imprint style. And this has The Big Mouth and Hook, Line, and Sinker from 1967 and 1969, and special features on both, audio commentaries on both. It's a pretty good release. But this is to save the one that I really wanted to love for last. We have the Odd Couple collection, and this is so crazy what they're doing here. So first, we have the Odd Couple from 1968, of course. We have the Odd Couple 2, which is 30 years later, with both Jack Lemmon and Walter Matthau in 1998. But they also have the Odd Couple on television. They have, in the 1970s television series, Can Tony Randall and Jack Klugman share an apartment without driving each other crazy? 10 classic episodes spanning all 5 seasons are presented for the first time on Blu-ray in HD. I love the way they did that. They chose 10 episodes, they put it with 2 different films, and then put it in a box set.
Yeah, that's cool. That's
a cool idea.
That's a really like good comedy too.
Yeah, it's classic. And then the last thing I really wanted to highlight, because I'm so stoked I got this, because it went fast, and I guess this is going for like 3.5 times the cost on the secondhand market already. I got the Arrow video version of Don't Go in the House, their Video Nasty cover. You got the Arrow video different logo on the front here. And the big thing about this is this has a completely different cut of the film that's not on the Severin release. This has a 3rd bonus disc when you bought the Video Nasty version of this. Rather cool release.
That's great. Did you get it from? Arrow?
It was the only place to get it. Arrow Direct. And they sold out very quickly.
Yeah, I bet. Cool.
Recent watches. Is there anything that you watched recently that you want to highlight?
Oh yeah, sure. Give me if you can give me either 10 seconds, I have it right here, or if you want to start with one and we can switch. But as fast as my internet can pulls up, I'll so one of the things actually here I can jump in. So one of the things I've been doing this year, like of all the things that I'm kind of into, my biggest blind spot is actually classic Hollywood movies.
Me too.
I honestly don't love them. Like kind of like especially like 40s, 50s like dramas. I just like stab me in the eye. Like I can't do it. I don't like them at all. But I want to like give them a chance. So one of the things I've been doing this year is that like 10 years ago or 12 years ago or something, Warner Brothers released 100 DVD box set. And it's like, it's not 100 discs. I think it's like 50 discs or whatever.
Right.
But it's a honker. Like, and it's been sitting on my shelf. I got it secondhand for like $60 or something crazy. And I was like, yeah, one day I'll go through these and finally see like freaking like Yankee Doodle Dandy. Like, I don't care. Like, whatever. So I've been doing that. And there's some really good movies in there. Like, credit where credit's due. Like, these movies are famous for a reason. Recently, I rewatched Casablanca, and like, that's just, I don't know, like, it's worth the hype. That movie's fantastic. Like, the dialogue is so sharp, and like the characters are like so perfectly like crafted, and there's so much that's not spoken but still communicated, and that movie's great. I did see Yankee Doodle Dandy. I didn't like that movie. It was dumb, and yeah, I'm just scrolling through I saw The Scary of 61st. Did you ever see Zulawski's Possession?
Oh, of course. God, I love that movie.
Like I had very similar vibes to me. Like, it had that real frenetic, like, you're not at rest as the audience. You don't really know exactly what's going on, and like they kind of trust the audience to piece it together a little bit, enough to at least leave with like some semblance of a discussion on it. And I like it when directors do that. And I feel like not enough people are talking about Scary 61st. So I watch about a movie a day. I could go on for a long time, but I'll stop there. These are some ones that are kind of jumping out. What about you?
You're good. I've talked about most of mine. I can't do a movie a day with two young kids, sadly. I watched The Scary of 61st recently. The way I said it in my review is that I understood the art behind it, and I liked what I liked in it, but I was not the demographic. Overall, it wasn't for me. I think that the story that it told, it was very successful in, and the people that it's meant for will probably adore that movie.
Yeah.
But it wasn't meant for me.
Yeah.
I do think that Antlers was much better than I expected. But even that, like, again, just like you, I've rarely watched a lot of new movies like that, so I was still very out of my element. What else is there recently? I should pull up my Letterboxd. Not a lot recently. And then I watched Fortress of America this week, the VSA, like I said, and I reviewed that for the channel. So that was a fun one.
What was that movie? Why was that made?
It's a wild movie. I love that they try to. I mean, the characters of this film are literally portrayed as training for military, but they're literally just murdering everybody that's in this random town next to them, and I don't understand it.
Yeah, there's two. So that one had like kind of, Nazi type kind of like fascist themes, and then
Yep.
I just recently saw Wolfpack. Have you seen that?
I just got my February package in. I've not been able to watch anything yet.
That movie's crazy. Like there was a movie made in the 80s that was like, watching it now is like, it's uncomfortable to watch.
Yeah.
Because it basically is like how fascism rises in a small town. And it's done pretty well, actually. Like, it's kind of a heavy movie for a VSA title.
It's too relevant.
Yeah, it's hard to watch, really. But it's interesting that they're releasing these kind of like politically charged movies.
One of our comments says they got in Labyrinth of Cinema.
Yeah.
And then their Vinegar Syndrome order, which included Delta Space Mission from Deaf Crocodile. And I cannot wait to watch Delta Space Mission.
Oh, yeah.
Did you watch that one yet?
Don't tell them. No, I haven't seen it yet. I haven't really. I'm going to see it soon. I can't wait.
Looks really good.
Yeah.
One thing that have not brought up again, but I know that you wanted to talk about it. Let me share this screen. You want to talk about Massacre Video?
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. We're just like, it's like a love fest for the boutique labels here. But like, in a world where like everybody is doing it their own way, Lewis is like really doing it his own way. Like,
right.
He's been around for a long time. He is not a part of MPD. He's not a part of OCN. He's like his own distributor. He has his own streaming site. He's sort of like this loud, well, not loud, but I mean like he sort of like champions these really like nasty kind of exploitation movies.
Right.
A lot of releases otherwise. And then every once in a while he releases the Bad Pack, and it's like a really fun watch. I like his release of Mahakal. If you've seen it, that movie is awesome.
I recommended that to somebody earlier today. I said, you appear to be somebody that would love Mahakal, and they said, I have one Massacre video release, and it's that one. So I was right.
Great. If you can find a copy of what's the one? Not Jack-o'-lantern, but
Hack-a-lantern.
Hack-a-lantern. Thank you. That movie's really fun too. But yeah, like I think Lewis is like one of these guys that just I want personally. I just like want to support him. It's 100%. If you buy from the store, he gets the money, and like it just all goes into the next releases. Like he's a very busy person. He has his hands in like a lot of different pies, so he doesn't even necessarily make a lot of money from the releases. It just funds more releases from him, and like kind of growing the business in a way that I like what he does. And sometimes the movies are a little intense for me. He hasn't put out on Blu-ray yet. He hasn't gone into the like tumbling doll of flesh territory. I don't know if I could honestly buy that one. I might just support it, but I might keep it in its wrapping. I don't love those kind of movies.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I like the fact that he's like kind of punk rock in a world of people that are already outside the system. And I want to support him.
The only thing, obviously, Massacre Video has some reputations to overcome. There's a lot of people that used to order from Massacre Video back in like 2017 and 18, and for some reason, you would order something and not get word back for literally 6 months, and people would complain all the time about that, and rightfully so. Obviously, you shouldn't have to deal with that, of course. But the biggest thing with Massacre is they'll announce a title like the Bad Pack. They announced the Bad Pack like 14 months ago, and then there was nothing about it for 14 months. And now you can pre-order it. The other thing, I've had a lot of people ask lately, what do you think about these titles? Like the Bad Pack, we'll say, maybe I'm forgetting. Let me open this one up. This might be a bad option. These are $29 to order right now. And that was a bad option. I think Hardgore is the one that I was actually thinking of. This is so this is $30 to pre-order, and there's no features on here. There's an extensive stills gallery and trailers for other Massacre titles, and that's it. $30 for that seems like a lot.
Yeah, I mean it's true. I have nothing to say to that. It's true. Like it. This is his way of probably funding the future releases, but like. I don't know if that's fair to necessarily ask people to do that.
Right. And I get that. And then, like I was saying, the Bad Pack, it does have a new commentary. And I think Portrait of Andrea Palmer had something brand new, right? It has a short film called Flesh Meat Dolls. Gotta love that face. Yeah, so they're a little expensive to dive into, but Massacre Video, a lot of the stuff they put out is genuinely fun. Weird to say that after saying Flesh Meat Dolls, but they, they are known for some of the more like depraved titles on their DVD side, at least. But they've put out some gems in between, and if you can find something that you like, grab onto it, enjoy it, and that's it about Massacre Video. I have one more digital copy to give away for tonight. I don't think you were here for that first one. I apologize. So I'm going to give away a copy of Requiem for a Dream. I think this is going to be a 4K redeemer as well. Go to lionsgate.com/redeem again. If you are interested, I'll give the code right now in about 5 seconds. Gives everybody some time to get there, and that'll be a race for the end. Lionsgate.com/redeem. The code is C as in Charlie, K as in King, 562, F as in Frank, J as in John, 5, L as in Lincoln, C as in Charlie, U as in Union, L as in Lincoln, Z as in Zoo, P as in Paul, J as in John, and the number 8. All right. We did it. I think that's everything for tonight. Anything else in the last week that came up that you want to shout out or anything?
No, thanks for the being so kind to me always, and I can't wait to hear what you said about the podcast. But thank you. I know it's always you're very effusive in your praise, so thank you. I continue to listen to your episodes. I think you're one of the more steady and like informative and good voices on YouTube. And yeah, I don't know, man. This is fun. I think I appreciate you doing this. This is a lot of work. I was just even something like putting together that slideshow or whatever. However you like, kind of, there's a lot of work that goes into these. So I think it shows, and I really appreciate what you're doing.
There is. I thank you for that. Speaking of the podcast, anything coming up that you can hint at, or?
Yeah, sure. So we have okay. We just released. I was personally geeked out with Daisuke Beppu. Just the most sweetheart guy. Like,
Yeah.
I don't even know how to say it. He just says like, if you ever doubt that there's like still good people in the world, like just listen to him talk. Like you just want to like squeeze him. He's like so sweet. Daisuke, and then we have Something Weird is next.
Wow,
then
nice.
After that is going to be the world's foremost silent film accompanist. His name is Ben Modell. This dude is awesome. Like he's a very enigmatic person. He has to try to convince people to like silent film. So if you can imagine, like the person who's the world's foremost at that, like
Right.
he's very like enigmatic person, has got great energy. And then after that is going to be Agfa, which is my personal favorite interview as far as like on-screen kind of chemistry, or whatever on air chemistry. And then we're going to be recording Yellow Veil. Speaking of that, and we're still trying to put down 101 and Indicator. Those are the ones that we're trying to pin down. So hopefully that comes up soon.
I think when we talked last time, you were working on Imprint. Did anything ever come through with them?
They're very generous, but they're very busy. So not yet.
For a label that's only been around since May of, I think, 2020, they put out like 7 or 8 titles a month for most months. I imagine they are busy as hell.
They kind of remind me of like Shout Factory or something, this Via Vision group. Because they put out a lot of like random TV and stuff, and then they also have these like the Zhang Yimou like beautiful red box set and stuff. So they're an interesting one.
They're super interesting. Well, again, thank you for all your time. Obviously, it's been a long show, but I appreciate everybody sticking around. It has been a hell of a week if you're into physical media. And again, for the last, we're going on like 20 years that people have been ringing the death knell for physical media. And we have a week like this. We have Candyman and Life Force and, Schizoid and X-Roy all coming to 4K and so much more. It is crazy what we're getting.
Yeah.
Long live physical media. Long live collectors. Long live you, Chris. I appreciate your time.
Thanks, Ryan.
Have a good night, everybody.
Bye, Owen.